Newcastle, the home of North East sport.
We speculated that the numbers of fans of both sides would be about equal, but looking at it now, just before kick-off, Matthew, it looks as though there are a lot more Whitley fans away to our left than there are to Wroxham fans in front of us and to the right. But altogether, a good crowd. You mentioned Whitley's yellow shirts and how perhaps they would be a little strange. Even stranger is goalkeeper Terry Burke's top, which is pink. And I guess that's probably a first, but there's a serious reason behind that. Whitley have, for many years now, supported the cancer charities, and that is the colour of the cancer charities. And I don't know the specifics, but I know that there is some link between Terry wearing pink and Whitley's long-standing support of the cancer charity. So that's a visible sign of their heart being in the right place, Matthew.
Yes, Terry Burke just shaking the hand of the FA chairman, Lord Triesman. Paul Dixon is pitch side for BBC Newcastle this afternoon. Paul, it's a fantastic atmosphere already and loads of Whitley Bay fans in there, and you're right in the thick of it down there.
Well, it's fantastic, yes, and I mean, you know, the whole of the Whitley fans and all these, just people coming up and saying good luck, hello, how are you, and all that. It's fantastic atmosphere down here, and I just hope, Matthew, that they can pull it off. Back-to-back wins would be sensational, wouldn't it?
It certainly would be. The first team in 11 years to retain the FA Vase. Tiverton Town, the last team to do it in 1998 and 1999 at the old Wembley. They beat Bedlington Terriers back in 1999, courtesy of a late goal in that game. But let's hope Whitley Bay can retain the FA Vase here this afternoon. The handshake's just continuing along the Wroxham team in their blue and white strips, blue shorts and white socks. We're looking around this stadium, Barry. The stand opposite us is empty, but as we've talked about, the fans either side of us, the atmosphere is fantastic, and there's a real sense of anticipation here, just as we head to kick off.
Well, that's absolutely right, and it's what you would expect. The Wroxham people are making a tremendous din in front of us. They're obviously anxious to get behind their team. Whitley's fans, of course, simply looking for the same kind of performance and the same kind of outcome as they got last season. We'll see very soon.
After the national anthem. Building into kick-off there, the national anthem impeccably observed. Lots of flags flying throughout that. Whitley Bay fans, it's an absolute picture away to our left. As we said, the blue and white with the yellow in between, as well as the two players walk along the line for the traditional fair play handshake. As you see at the start of every game, we'll have the coin toss as well to decide who plays at which end in just a moment. Whitley Bay players walking along, shaking the hands of each of the Wroxham players. The Whitley Bay team then on BBC Newcastle, the home of North East sport. They start with Terry Burke in goal, making his 400th appearance for the club and wearing, as Barry said, that pink goalkeeper's jersey. Back four of Callum Anderson, Leon Ryan, the stand-in skipper in place of the injured David Coulson. Darren Timmins back in the side after missing out last year, also at centre-back. And at left-back, Craig McFarlane. They will play with three in midfield of Paul Robinson, Damon Robson and Richard Hodgson. And Lee Kerr, who scored the first goal in the final last year, will be behind the front two of Paul Chow and Adam Johnson. On the bench for Ian Chandler's side, Phil Bell, Tom Cranley, the sub-keeper, Joshua Gillies and Chris Reed, and defender Lee Picton. The Wroxham team, Scott Howie in goal, Gavin Pauling, Martin McNeil, Graham Challen, the captain, and Sean Howes across the back. In midfield, Gary Gilmore, Danny White, Gavin Lemon and Andy Eastoff. And up front, Steve Spriggs and Paul Cook. The Whitley Bay players go into a huddle away to our left. The Wroxham players just do a couple of extra sprints, completing their warm-up there, just getting themselves fully ready and raring to go for this game. Looks like Whitley Bay will be kicking from left to right. We await the coin toss to decide which end they will start at. The Wroxham subs, by the way, Danny Self, Ross Durant, Gareth Simpson, Owen Painter, Josh Caras, the manager, of course, of Wroxham, David Batch. The referee this afternoon is Anthony Taylor. The two assistants, Paul Marsden and Dean Mahareb, and the fourth official is Mr. Neil Swarbricker.
This is where the nerves will be jangling, the adrenaline will be beginning to flow, and this is where we find out how Wroxham have responded to being at Wembley. And we've said in the build-up that could be a crucial factor here. If they just abandon the fact that it is the FA Vase final and it is at the home of English football and play their game, then we could be in for a humdinger of a final. Obviously our hope is that Whitley Bay will settle quicker, settle the better, and get the better of the early play and maybe get an early goal, which would tip the scales very much in their favour. But it's all speculation, Matthew, until a couple of minutes, well, about 30 seconds in fact from now, when the game gets underway. Let's hope Whitley can do it. As Paul Dixon said, it'll be a fantastic achievement, and for all those fans who've travelled down from the northeast, let's hope they can give them a game worthy of the occasion.
Anthony Taylor just checking with his two assistants there on the far and the near side. Checks his watch again, has a look at either keeper, and blows the whistle to get this game underway. The FA Vase final 2010, Whitley Bay against Wroxham FC, and it's live on BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. As Leon Ryan plays a ball forward, already headed clear by Wroxham and then clipped forward. Ryan again bites in with a challenge and clears the ball forward all the way up in the air, and don't have chance already, and it's a goal for Whitley Bay, and it's Paul Chow. And what a start at Wembley. 19 seconds gone, and Paul Chow capitalising on confusion at the back line amongst the Wroxham players. It was just a hopeful interception and then a punt forward by captain Leon Ryan. And Paul Chow, well, he was chasing the defender down. The defender let the ball bounce. You can't do that. The goalkeeper came and stopped, and Chow nipped in behind and then headed the ball just over the line. He got taken out as he did so, but the goal stands, and Paul Chow, just as he did at Wembley last year, scores for Whitley Bay. What an unbelievable start. We talked about an early goal. Whitley Bay have got it. We didn't think it would come this early. 20 seconds gone at Wembley. This is unbelievable. It's Whitley Bay 1, Wroxham 0.
Absolutely incredible, Matthew, as you described. A ball out of defence by Whitley Bay. Hesitation between central defender and goalkeeper Chow, following through, really more in hope than expectation, but all credit to him. Did what a striker does, followed the ball into the 6-yard box, got his head to it, and it went agonisingly slowly over the line. That could be the fastest goal in a cup final at Wembley, Matthew. It was I made it 24 seconds, you made it a second or two less, so either way, fantastic start for Whitley Bay. You
started your stopwatch quicker than me as Wroxham have a ball into the area cleared. They tried to work it back in. It's on that far right-hand side with Spriggs. Now to Pauling. We'll go to Paul Dixon on the touchline in just a moment. Pauling gives it back down that right-hand side. Blue and white shirts work the ball between them midway inside the Whitley Bay half. Now on that far side, here's Pauling, looks up. Comes back inside to the number 4, the captain Graham Challen. Good strong challenge there from Lee Cohn, and to throw into Wroxham on that far right hand side. Paul Dixon is pitch side. Paul, what an absolutely unbelievable start. Who would have thought that Whitley Bay would get a goal so early?
Can't believe that, Matthew. Was that one of the quickest goals ever at Wembley? Speaking to Paul Chow just before kick-off, he said, I scored last year. I'm really determined to score this year as well. He's done that in 24 seconds. What a start. Unbelievable.
Paul Chow, yes, scored the second goal last year. Scored 2 late goals in the semi-final first leg away at Barwell to get Whitley Bay level at 3-3 after the first leg and really put them in the driving seat as far as getting to the final is concerned. And he's delivered after only 24 seconds at Wembley. Possibly, I'm sure that has to be the fastest goal ever in a Wembley final, Barry. No matter what level, what kind of final it is, that's got to be the quickest.
Absolutely, and we're now going to find out, Matthew, what Wroxham are made of, because that is an absolute body blow. They'll be stunned by that. And Whitley haven't got to go too gung-ho and now assume that this is in the bag. They've got to stick to their game plan. Wroxham, though, will have to think again, because they will have been rocked by that goal. And it's set up for Whitley Bay now. If they can keep their nerve, keep to their game plan, as I say, then the game's theirs for the taking, I would have to say. But there's a long way to go, so let's not get carried away.
And Wroxham have a throw in on that far right-hand side. It's played forward, headed clear by Whitley Bay into midfield. Robinson with a little header around the corner. Johnston tries to lay it off for Lee Kerr. It's played forward all the way down the line for Spriggs to chase. cleared up in the air and out of play by Craig McFarlane for a throw level with the edge of the Whitley Bay penalty area away to our left. BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. 3.5 minutes gone at Wembley. Whitley Bay leading by a goal to nil. Paul Chow, the scorer, scored last year, and on the score sheet after 24 seconds this afternoon as Gavin Pauling, the right back, 39 years old, this will be the second oldest player on the pitch, probably the oldest outfield player on the pitch, loops the ball up into the air. Challenge before the ball is Wroxham player tries to turn away, but a good strong challenge there by Darren Timmins, and Whitley Bay will try and work it clear, and eventually second time around they do knock it out of touch just on halfway.
Excellent challenge there, as you say, Matthew, but this boy who's playing wide right, who we said might cause Whitley problems, Steve Spriggs, they obviously see him as a key player in the Wroxham side because he's seeing a lot of the ball's being played to him wide right, and he's attempting to use his pace to get behind the Whitley defence at every opportunity.
He's got an awful lot of goals in their route to Wembley, Steve Spriggs as well. It'll be a dangerous play this afternoon as Wroxham turn a ball around the corner, but Timmins gets in there and then Whitley Bay clear it off the back of a blue and white shirt, and it's out of play for a goal kick, which Terry Burke, making his 400th appearance for Whitley Bay, wearing that pink goalkeeper's jersey, will take all the time in the world, just spots the ball up and places it down on the edge of his 6-yard box. The Wroxham fans completely motionless and silenced, just rocked, stunned by that early goal, by the timing of it. What a sucker punch, not just for the players, for the fans. And look, in contrast, the Whitley Bay fans flying the flags up in their seats, singing and chanting. It's quite a contrast. What
Whitley Bay have got to do now, Matthew, is just settle down, get their midfielders involved and play the ball around, pass the ball around, because to be fair to them, Wroxham have come back hard at them, but Whitley on the attack now in the second build-up in a good
Anderson
situation.
Plays it into the middle. Here goes Lee Kerr, lays it off for Paul Robinson, comes back inside and now finds Hodgson. Nice little ball there. Here comes Anderson again, clips the ball into the box looking for Chow, and then possibly Johnston around the back. It got a flick on the way through, and it will be a corner to Whitley Bay, their first corner of the game this afternoon. Cross into the box from Anderson, got a little flick there, and it was just touched behind for a corner on that far left-hand side.
Thanks to Dave Andrew. The fastest goal in Wembley history prior to today, Matthew, was scored by Gianpaolo Pazzini in 29 seconds for England's against England's under-21s for Italy under-21.
There's a corner flicked in and a header on the ball from Leon Ryan. Well, a completely free header, got a good connection on it. Left-footed corner flicked in, no one around him. Got plenty of power, but straight at the goalkeeper. It could have been two.
Could have been, and the goalkeeper, as you say, happened to be in the right place and clung onto it, but good corner and slack marking once again, and that first goal came from hesitant defending. The second one came from not very careful marking, so that's something that Whitley will hope to continue to exploit.
As Wroxham finds Spriggs down the right-hand side, does a couple of little step overs, cuts back in and then back outside. His cross into the box is poor and then cut out by Craig McFarlane, who will try and clear the ball for Whitley Bay. Gives it back to Timmins, who then knocks it long, looking for Johnson, tries to flick on Chow behind him. Johnson was pushed in the back, and it's a free kick to Whitley Bay just on the halfway line. BBC Newcastle radio for the North East, live from Wembley for this FA Vase final. Matthew Raceback, Barry Heinsohn and Paul Dixon with full commentary. Paul Dixon is pitch side, one early goal, Dicker, and they could have had a second there with that header. A real good chance there.
Well, I think Leon Ryan will be a little bit disappointed. He should have scored.
As Whitley Bay works the ball through, and another chance for Chow, goes round the keeper, Paul Chow. Oh, he's just forced away from goal, pulls it back. Johnson there tries to lay it at the edge of the area. The shot comes in and is blocked. It's come all the way out to the edge of the area. The blue shirt has it, then a shot is attempted by Hodgson, but it's sliced and then out of play. But Paul Chow, just as we were talking there, Paul, was played in. He tried to take it round the goalkeeper, but he was forced wide. There was a man on the line and the chance went begging. We're talking about the chance from Leon Ryan. There was nearly another opportunity for a second goal.
Hodgson, at the end of that move, sliced his effort. He needs to be a bit more calm and studied in midfield. We've said both he and Robinson need to get their feet on the ball. Robinson's beginning to do so. Hodgson can do so as well, and not be quite so frantic in his work. Then that will work to Whitley's advantage. But once again, we saw a little earlier, immediately after that second goal almost came Whitley's way, the boy Spriggs getting away down the right and causing problems. They've got to either nail him or stop his supply, Matthew, because he's without question the danger man as far as the Norfolk side are concerned.
He's a very tricky customer as Paul Cook tries to win a corner for Wroxham away to our left there, but he only results in turning the ball out of play, and it's a goal kick to Whitley Bay, which Terry Burke, the goalkeeper, will take. 8 minutes gone on BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport, live from Wembley. Whitley Bay, the holders, 1, Wroxham 0. Paul Chow's goal, the fastest ever goal, we think, at Wembley in a final. 24 seconds, a header after latching onto a long ball forward by skipper Leon Ryan and capitalising on some uncertainty at the back. Paul Chow scoring in the final last year and repeating that feat here this afternoon as the ball is tidied up by a yellow Whitley Bay shirt and cleared forward, but Wroxham have a throw in midway inside their own half. On that far right-hand side, Gavin Pauling, we mentioned, 39 years old, a lot of older players in the Wroxham side, and having gone a goal down, Barry, you think that maybe they'll need to recall on that experience just to calm it down, not to get too worked up, and just to settle down and try and play at Wembley. That's
right, and to be fair, almost a very good through ball from Robinson, but just ahead of Paul Chow there. To be fair to Wroxham, they've responded well, Matthew. They did, as you rightly say, almost concede a second from a set piece, but in open play, they've carried the game to Whitley Bay, particularly through Spriggs down the right. And this game's not won yet by any means. Certainly not, as the Wroxham goalkeeper, Scott Howie, launches a ball long downfield, flicked on by Cook, looking for Spriggs on the right-hand side. Spriggs picks it up, tries to skip away from Craig McFarlane, but a good, strong challenge from the Whitley Bay left-back, and it's a throw-in, just level with the edge of the Whitley Bay penalty area for the side from Norfolk, playing the Eastern Counties League, finished 8th in their division this season, which is not a bad feat. They were on course for a higher finish, but it's fair to say took their foot off the gas as they approached this Wembley final. As a ball towards the edge of the area with number 11 Gary Gilmore, tries to turn away from his man, looking for a free kick, goes down, nothing doing from the referee, and Whitley Bay will work the ball clear up to halfway. Chow, nice header down into midfield for Kerr. He's got a runner forward, instead goes to the right hand side, and now here's Paul Robinson, slides in, but manages just to win a throw-in, nicking the ball off the heels of the Wroxham player. Now Whitley Bay take the throw-in quickly. But with number 11, Robinson again just gives it back to Timmons. Now out to McFarlane, the left-back. Tries to play a ball inside, but a blue shirt picks it up, and now here come Wroxham. Will try to slip it through for Spriggs, but a foul given anyway. One player, the Wroxham player there, just crowded out and got his ankles nicked there, and the referee blowing up Anthony Taylor for a free kick to Wroxham just inside the Whitley Bay half. Tried to play the advantage, Matthew, but there was no advantage in his judgment in the final analysis, and so he brought it back for the free kick. But Craig McFarlane beginning to get the grips, I think, with the pace of Spriggs. He's had a couple of timely interventions in the last 3 or 4 minutes, so hopefully Whitley are beginning to come to terms with the principal danger, but they've now got a set piece to defend. They've got a couple of their bigger players forward. Whitley Bay look the taller of the two sides, but Wroxham have got a couple of tall men in there. As the ball comes into the box, it's flicked forward, it's blocked off his own man and then turned in, and Wroxham have got themselves an equaliser. Well, after 11 minutes, Wroxham have drawn level, and the free kick was played forward, clipped in with a left foot from Martin McNeil. The ball was into the box. There was 2 men free. One of them got a free header, and as Terry Burke dived, it hit a Wroxham player in front of the Whitley Bay goalkeeper, and as it came back, a blue shirt sliding in, and it was number 9 Paul Cook, the striker, slid in to turn the ball home and into the back of the net, and Whitley Bay's lead lasted all of 10 minutes. 11 minutes gone at Wembley on BBC Newcastle in this FA Vase final. It's Whitley Bay 1, Wroxham 1. We've got a game on our hands here now, Matthew. Very good free kick. As you say, nobody went for the aerial challenge. Terry Burke did very, very well to save the initial effort, but unfortunately the ball fell to a Wroxham player, Paul Cook, and he had the easiest of tasks of turning it into the net. So unfortunately Whitley Bay's early lead is no longer theirs, and as I say, we've got a final on our hands now. Wroxham have responded in the right way. Let's go to Paul Dixon, who's pitch side for us today. Paul, that's well, as Barry says, we've got a game on now. Well, I would agree with that. That was poor defending. I mean, where the back lads were, Leon Ryan, Darren Timmins, I mean, the lad had a free header. I mean, Burke done well, but yes, there's a game on now. I mean, they're only playing with 1 man up front, you know, in the filled in midfield, as is Whitley Bay have, you know. But Whitley have got to get the ball down and get forward, but that's got Wroxham back in the game. And it was such an innocuous free kick as well. The player wasn't really going anywhere. The referee tried to play advantage, didn't, and then they ultimately got the best advantage possible after the goal from the free kick as Kerr tries to play a ball forward looking for Chow. It's cut out, and Wroxham will knock the ball clear and played forward by Howes, the left back, as Robson slides in. A couple of challenges flying in, and the referee gives the free kick to Wroxham.
One or two players pushing and shoving each other. Temper starting to spill over a little bit. Just need to calm down. Anthony Taylor having a word with one or two players this afternoon. Whitley Bay's Callum Anderson, the man who's just getting a talking to from the referee. A bit of afters there with Cook, the Wroxham goal scorer. 1-1 after 13 minutes at Wembley. Don't forget, we'll be crossing over to Molineux in just a couple of moments for full commentary of Wolves against Sunderland in the Premier League with Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett. But Wroxham have another free kick, an almost identical position from which they scored the goal, but on the other side of the pitch as it's floated in there towards the penalty spot. Burke comes, gets a fist on it, punches it away, and there'll be a chase on for the ball there. Spriggs will get to it, the Wroxham winger, puts the cross into the box, half cleared by Whitley Bay. They'll need to complete the job, and they do get rid of it eventually. It's Paul Chow knocks it forward to Adam Johnson, holds off a couple of blue shirts and gets the ball away, but Wroxham win it back, but Whitley Bay eventually pick it up, and a nice ball sprayed out wide by Robinson to Anderson, crossing halfway, the Whitley Bay right back, trying to take on his man. Anderson does well, goes past him, and he's fouled surely by his man, blocked off, and Anderson wins a free kick right in front of us, midway inside the Wroxham half. That's good play.
That was better right because it was a measured ball out of midfield by Paul Robinson. Whitley's work in the main has been too frantic in the first quarter of an hour or so, and then a good run from young Callum Anderson, his second of the match, down this right hand side, and as you say, he was blocked off, and Whitley now have an interesting free kick in a similar position to the one from which the visitors equalised. It's going to be Richard Hodgson probably to swing it in with his left foot, but they've also got the option. And before Richard Hodgson crosses the ball in towards the back post, it's got a touch on it, and it's gone in! It's turned in, and it's gone in for an own goal, and Whitley Bay have scored a second goal. Well, what drama in the opening 15 minutes at Wembley. Hodgson's clipped ball in towards the back post. Chow went up for it at the back stick along with Adam Johnson, and it clipped off the foot of a Wroxham defender. We're still trying to work out which one it was, but it flew across the keeper, who had absolutely no chance, and into the back of the net. And Whitley Bay, well, having taken the lead early, they were pegged back, but they're now back in front. It's Whitley Bay 2, Wroxham 1 after 15 minutes at Wembley, and Paul Dixon is pitch side. And Paul, this game, unbelievable.
This is a funny game, Matthew, isn't it, you know? But you're right. I mean, that's a bit of luck for Whitley there to get their nose back in front as quick as that. You need as much luck as you possibly can in cup finals, and they've got a stroke of luck there. 2-1 to Whitley.
Whitley Bay leading by 2-1. Full commentary then from Wembley continues on DAB and 14:58 AM here on BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. But now, listeners, on our FM frequencies, we have all the build-up to Sunderland against Wolves in the Premier League, live from Molineux with Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, and we're splitting our frequencies now. So Whitley Bay leading by 2-1 at Wembley, back in front this game, toing and froing, swinging one way and then the other. This is unbelievable drama in the first 15 minutes at Wembley. Who'd have thought it, as Wroxham come forward again. Number 11, Gary Gilmore, down the left-hand side, just crowded out. Good defending by Leon Ryan. The Whitley Bay skipper wins a goal kick, just blocks Gilmore off as he tried to get round him. Leon Ryan, a big, strong defender. Gilmore never going to push him off the ball, and Terry Burke has a goal kick, chance to spot it. We've hardly had a chance to catch our breath, Barry Hines.
It's an absolutely extraordinary game, Matthew. The good strong defending there, as you said, by Leon Ryan, the Whitley Bay captain, to keep Whitley away from danger. Going back to the goal, it was Richard Hodgson's free kick, which he curled in with his left foot. Two Whitley Bay players at the far post. It seemed to me to be Adam Johnson who got the touch across the face of the goal, and then it was Andy Easthoff who had the misfortune to turn the ball into his own net to give Whitley a 2-1 lead. So quarter of an hour gone, 3 goals in a cup final at Wembley. You can't ask for much more than that, especially when your side scored 2 of them. Absolutely. Whitley Bay leading by 2-1. BBC Newcastle radio for the North East, live at Wembley in the FA Vase final. Andy Easthoff, the Wroxham midfielder, the unfortunate man who got the touch on that free kick, putting past his own goalkeeper Scott Howie, as Wroxham take a throw in. It's cleared by Whitley Bay and up towards Paul Chow. 2 men on his back. Chow trying to win the second ball, but good defending there by Wroxham, and they clear the ball away. And now Spriggs has it on that right hand side, trying to come inside, looks to maybe play a 1-2, doesn't get the return ball, and now they play it out to Paul in the right back. Now back to Spriggs, just knocks it back to the centre back McNeil, though, gives it away to a blue shirt just on halfway, and now Whitley Bay can come away. Kerr gives it inside to Hodgson, and then lays it back to Anderson, whose run of course forced the free kick from which we got the second goal. Kerr on the ball in midfield. Now Robinson looks for Johnson, man at his back, lays it off to McFarlane, coming forward from left back. Nice touch inside from McFarlane, now to Johnson, midway inside the Wroxham half, lays it off again, and now Whitley Bay have it with Damon Robson.
back to McFarlane. They're keeping the ball now, Barry, as we said they needed to do, just relaxing on it.
Yeah, this is better. This is much more measured build-up from Whitley Bay, retaining possession, making the opposition work for the ball, and this is what they need to do, certainly for the next 10-15 minutes or so, while they're a goal in front.
Up to Johnson. Now back inside Robson, but Roxton picked the ball up, and now it's with Cook just inside the centre circle. Gives it to Gilmore, who's running away left-hand side. Man at his back. Anderson's back to defend for Whitley Bay. Has to lay it off to Howes, the left-back. Gives it inside, but Whitley Bay pick it up again, and a good strong challenge from Darren Timmons there to pick up the ball. In fact, it was Paul Robinson who capitalised on the and picked up on the loose ball. Now give it to Leon Ryan, the captain for the day, in place of the injured David Coulson, who of course lifted the trophy last year. Ryan looks forward, looks long, flicked on by Johnson. Anderson's up there forward, as is Lee Kerr, and Whitley Bay have a throw-in just level with the edge of the Wroxham penalty area.
I think the message has gone out from the Whitley Bay dugout to calm things down and to play the kind of measured football we were saying they needed to play, because there's much more evidence of that. Whitley on the attack down the right now through Kerr.
They have it again. Lee Kerr looks up, is going to swing the ball into the box towards the penalty area. Johnson trying to get in front of a blue shirt, doesn't manage to win the ball, but it's played back into the penalty area, but it's nowhere near any yellow shirt. And Paul in the Wroxham right back heads back to his keeper Scott Howie. Ian Chandler and Steve Cuggy just out in the technical area there. Barry just having one or two words. They're discussing tactics, as you say, probably just asking the players, telling the players just to get the ball down and settle on it. They've got the lead again. Yeah. They need to hold on to it this time for longer.
I think they'll be a bit happier with the way Whitley are playing now since they got the second goal. They are playing with a bit more restraint. They were just running around a bit like headless chickens for the first 15 minutes, Matthew, and that wasn't the way you could play at Wembley for 90 minutes. And we've just got a stoppage of play, give us a chance to catch our breath for an injury to a Wroxham player on the far side of the field. Yes, as I say, Matthew, they needed just to settle it down and to begin to pick their passes and make the ball do a bit more of the work than it was, and they've begun to do that. Paul Robinson beginning to have an influence in midfield, pulling it down, looking, spreading the play wide, not as he sometimes is inclined to do, look for the impossible ball, but playing the sensible ball. And particularly on this side, Callum Anderson getting up in support, as we said he might. On the far side, the other full-back, Craig McFarlane, got his hands full with Spriggs and not able to get forward to the same extent. Damon Robson working hard in midfield, Hodgson beginning to get into it, and the threat up front of Chow in particular is causing problems in that back four for Wroxham, and the pattern of the play that I guess the way that Ian Chandler set his team up is the way they're beginning to play now, and that's a good omen, Matthew.
Yeah, 20 minutes gone here at Wembley. Whitley Bay leading Wroxham by 2-1 in the FA Vase final. It's been an absolutely frenetic start as the Wroxham player on the far side still trying to work out who it is there. Looked like it might be Spriggs, actually, and I think Spriggs is walking away. He's all right. Colour of the players.
It's Gary Gilmore.
Looks like Gary Gilmore. In fact, it is the number 9 getting some attention. Players taking this opportunity to get a drink on board. Let's go back to the pitch side. BBC Newcastle's Paul Dixon is there. Paul, we're saying a frenetic start. What's the view from the Whitley Bay bench?
Well, I mean, I think they're happy. I mean, you've just heard Barry there. It was good that they are getting the ball down and starting to play. You're right. I think they were a little bit nervous kicking off, even though they went 1-0 up there. And I think Ian Chandler, Steve Cuggy, I've just seen them calm down, play a football. If we get the ball down, give it to Hodgson, give it to Robinson. We can pass the ball, we can keep the ball, and I think there's more goals there. You're right. I mean, Paul Chow looks really up for the game this afternoon. He scored one. I think there could be more goals coming from him.
Thank you, Paul. That's BBC Newcastle's non-league reporter Paul Dixon, who's our touchline correspondent today, former Whitley Bay manager, and of course an FA Vase winner with Newcastle Blue Star in the 70s. As Spriggs is taken out by Craig McFarlane. It was careless rather than reckless. No malice in that, but Spriggs, we've said he's a quick player, Barry, and he was just too quick there for McFarlane.
He was just too good, wasn't he? And it would be interesting to see whether the referee says anything to the defender. I don't think he's going to book him because it wasn't malicious. It was mistimed and genuine attempt to win the ball, and he's getting a ticking off, but that's as far as it goes, hopefully.
He's just having a word with them there. Wroxham have a free kick. Again, eerily similar in the position from which Whitley Bay scored their second goal from a free kick.
Well, they need to deal better with this one than they did from the previous one. It's the same player who's going to take it, and hopefully they'll deal with it better.
So Howes, the left back, will take it in swinging. He does. He floats it in towards the penalty area. Terry Burke comes, punches down, and this time Whitley Bay will clear the ball on the far side. Hodgson with lots of time to have a look up. assess his options, and Terry Burke is down actually.
Terry
got a bit
Burke's
of a knock as he went to punch that ball. A
yeah.
couple of players involved. There may be a collision. He's down on his haunches at the moment. The ball is out of play on the far side, and the physio will come on and have a look at Terry Burke.
I think that the centre forward punched him actually. I think that Paul Cook, the goal scorer, who's a big strong lad, went in overzealously on Terry Burke. Terry Burke thankfully is back up on his feet. He's still doing a few stretches and making sure that everything's still in place where it ought to be, but as I say, a rather more zealous challenge than it ought to have been, and no question it's just been replayed on the big screen at the far end of the ground there, Matthew, and the referee didn't spot that. Was clearly a foul on Terry Burke.
It was a hefty landing as well, but thankfully Terry Burke, making his 400th appearance for Whitley Bay here today at Wembley, is all right, and he plays the goal kick out of his hands long towards Adam Johnston, headed clear by Wroxham, nodded back in by Whitley Bay. Up in the air, Hodgson challenging Lee Kerr, jumps up in the air and he led with an arm there, and that's a foul on the Wroxham player, and it's a free kick to the side in blue and white stripes today, and it's taken quickly forward. Gilmore there trying to win the ball in the air from Anderson, but it runs all the way back through to Burke in the Whitley Bay goal. 24 minutes played. BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. Don't forget Wolves against Sunderland in the Premier League, live on our FM frequencies this afternoon. DAB 14:58 AM and the BBC Time website for full commentary from Wembley as Chow flicks on for Johnson, claiming a foul for a push in the back there. Nothing doing for the referee, and Wroxham try to clear. Robinson wins a throw in though for Whitley Bay. Good work.
It's good play by Robinson, wasn't it? He showed his tenacious side there. We know that he's a great ball player, but he can win challenges as well, and he did well on that occasion.
Robson tried to play it back forward for Robinson, but eventually the ball is out of play, and Wroxham have another throw in on this left-hand side just in front of us, stealing about 10 yards forward as they play it forward. Nice little turn by Cook, the goal scorer, but a strong challenge biting in there. Damon Robson wins it back for Whitley Bay, and a good play by Darren Timmins, just sells his Spriggs a little dummy and then gives it left-hand side to Craig McFarlane. Inside to Hodgson, and back to McFarlane, advancing forward just inside the Wroxham half, but given away carelessly, and now the side from Norfolk can break. Here goes Spriggs. Cook just in front of him. Spriggs has got a runner in Gilmore. Will he slip it through for him? No, Spriggs goes himself back on the right-hand side. Spriggs has it. Here's White. Damon White looks up, gives it back, now a chance, gives it to Pauling. He might have a shot, slips it inside. They try and work the opening, but Whitley Bay slide in, and a good strong challenge there. Good play, and they get the ball clear, and a nice little turn away by Adam Johnson to get away from his man, and Johnson crossing halfway for Whitley Bay, plays the ball inside looking for Chow. The defender missed it, but fortunately for Wroxham, so did Paul Chow. Great little turn away by Adam Johnson, got the ball, flicked it one side of his defender, went the other, and then picked up the loose ball, played it first time inside for Chow, but he just couldn't get onto it, and now the ball is out of play just in front of the dugouts there for a throw to Wroxham, but a good little counter-attack from Whitley Bay, and they broke with pace there, Barry.
Excellent. I was going to make that same point, Matthew, that they were under a bit of pressure, won the ball with an excellent challenge and whipped the ball down the line. Good pass, and Whitley on the attack, and once again Chow almost found out the centre of the visitors' defence.
Here's Cook, lays it back to number 8 Gavin Lemon. Lemon clips an interesting ball into the box. Good ball in, nobody there, but goes straight to the hands of Terry Burke. Had someone gambled on that, Barry, they might well have got a little flick on it. It was a nicely floated ball into the box by Gavin Lemon from around about 20 yards out.
Yeah, it was. Terry Burke was alert to the situation, and he's got safe hands, grabbed hold of it, but if there'd been somebody gambling, that might have been a different story. And once again, Wroxham, I beg their pardon, have responded well to the goal. They've twice gone behind, once in the first minute, and then just as 3 or 4 minutes after they equalised, and the teams with less character might have folded, particularly on a big occasion like this, but this side haven't. And this fella Spriggs is still lively, but Matthew, he seems to have changed his style a bit. He's out on the right touchline now, but he's when the opportunity presents itself, he's coming in field and trying to attack down the middle as well. He's a handful. He's certainly a handful. They keep looking for that ball out the right hand side for Spriggs as they cut inside. Wroxham laid back, maybe a chance of a shot for number 4 Challen, indeed, not Chandler. Challen gives it out wide now to Pauling instead. Spriggs cuts inside, gets away from his man, runs into a yellow shirt though, and now Paul Chow can bring it clear for Whitley Bay. Dallied on the ball, and a Wroxham player slid in, and eventually it goes all the way back to the goalkeeper.
As we said, they keep looking for Spriggs down that right-hand side, and if he doesn't get away first time, he's always happy to cut back inside, give it back, and then look for the ball second time around. He is a live wire. He's been their main out ball so far in this opening 27 minutes here at Wembley. BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. Don't forget reaction to this game tomorrow morning with Alfie and Charlie at breakfast from 6:30 as Lee Kerr picks up the ball from a loose goal kick by the keeper, tries an audacious chip from around about 30 yards. Only Lee Kerr would try that in that range. He went for it, but the goalkeeper was always going to have that one covered, and it just drops a little way over the bar there, Barry.
I was reminded of last year's final when
Yes.
Adam Johnston from inside his own half attempted to chip the goalkeeper, and it was only a fingertip onto the crossbar that prevented him scoring perhaps the most sensational goal this stadium's witnessed. But good thinking by Lee Kerr. The execution not bad, but not quite good enough.
The Whitley Bay forward, who's the top scorer this season in their run to Wembley in the FA Vase final. He's got a number of goals for them as a ball forward looking for Adam Johnson is well dealt with by Wroxham, by Challen, the captain, and it's out of play for a throw-in to Whitley Bay midway inside the Wroxham half on that far left-hand side. Lee Kerr with 6 goals in the FA Vase this season. Paul Chow has now got 5, 4 before today, but of course his goal after only 24 seconds means he's got 5 in the competition this season. Whitley Bay leading by 2 goals to 1. On BBC Newcastle live from Wembley as the throw-in is cleared by Wroxham, and now Cook does well to turn away, and he's got a run. In fact, he's got 2, and Gilmore over the top in between the 2 defenders. Timmins slides in, an important interception by Darren Timmins there to turn the ball away, and out for a throw-in to Wroxham on that far right-hand side, which they take quickly. Spriggs gives it to Gilmore. Going to give it back to Spriggs. They've only got one man in the box, and that's Cook. Spriggs trying to get away from a couple of men. They have to go back. Here's Lemon inside to Spriggs. Now Lemon tries to play the ball back down the line for Spriggs, who made it another run, trying to work the ball between themselves, but it's out of play for a throw-in to Whitley Bay. But a good ball forward there by Cook. Took it well, played it forward, and the runner there, Gilmore, but an important interception by the Whitley Bay defender.
Crucial interception by Timmins, and a very good one. Matthew, the thing about this Wroxham side is they've got a lot of attacking strings to their bow. We've mentioned Spriggs, who has been their most prominent player, but they've got 2 or 3 players who can break quickly from midfield. They've got a wide player in Gilmore who can get down the left flank, and the centre forward Cook's a handful. So this is a side that's got variety in its approach, and Whitley are going to have to be on their mettle if they're going to keep them at arm's length.
Let's go back to Paul Dixon, who's pitch side for us. Paul, that was a fast and a swift break by Wroxham, and Whitley Bay did well to snuff out the danger there.
Well, they did, and I would agree with Barry. They're very, very good going forward. A 2-way man, and Cook up front, he's a real handful. And I think the back lads for Whitley, Darren Timmins, Leon Ryan, they've got to do their job. They've got to keep on the metal. And you're right there, that was a last-ditch effort. Very, very lucky to get away with that.
Thank you, Paul. BBC Newcastle's Paul Dixon is our pitchside reporter at Wembley this afternoon as the throw-in from Wroxham is headed clear by Whitley Bay. Chow challenging, trying to win it back. The Whitley Bay scorer does win it back and plays a good ball inside for Lee Kerr. But an important interception by Sean Howes, the left-back, coming across. Kerr will now put the goalkeeper under pressure. Good clearance by Scott Howie over halfway, and Whitley Bay will concede a throw-in midway inside their own half. Leon Ryan came forward to head it clear, but only got half a head on it, and it flew out for a throw-in, which Wroxham will come forward and take. As Paul Dixon said, they're very, very good going forward, and they have scored an awful lot of goals in their run-up to the final. They've scored 5 in one game, and they've scored 3 goals 4 times as well, as Lee Kerr intercepts it. A good ball, and now some space inside for Whitley Bay to move. Here comes Hodgson looking for the run of Johnson, tries to slip it inside for Adam Johnson, but it's just too much on it, not enough direction and too much pace on it, and Howie comes out to claim the ball. But again, Whitley Bay this time breaking with pace, Barry.
Excellent steal by Lee Kerr, back helping in his own half, found Robinson carried the ball forward, played Hodgson in. Hodgson really ought to have done better with his final ball, because all the build-up play was excellent, as you say, quick and incisive and thoughtful, but the final pass didn't measure up to the build-up.
We're past the half-hour mark here at Wembley in the FA Vase final 2010. Whitley Bay, the holders, leading by 2 goals to 1 against Wroxham. Paul Chow, an own goal for Whitley Bay. The people on the score sheet as Wroxham just about deal with the long ball forward by Leon Ryan. It's played up the line now to Spriggs, and he gets away from a couple of men, and now he tries to run past McFarlane. Spriggs using that pace, he just about gets away, but a fantastic recovery by Craig McFarlane to win the ball back. Spriggs is on the floor. That was a super time challenge by McFarlane. We've already seen him get it wrong once. He had to get it right that time, and he got it absolutely spot on. Barry, as the ball is forward for Paul Chow, just tries to get around Challen, the defender, as the keeper comes out and smothers the ball at the feet of Paul Chow. It's end-to-end, Barry, but great defending there by Craig McFarlane.
Chow's given Martin McNeil a torrid afternoon. He really is. The back four of Wroxham can't handle him, and Whitley have got to get good service into Chow at every opportunity, because he's a constant threat to the Wroxham defence. Paul's quite right when he talks about how good this team is going forward. They're not quite so secure at the back, and Whitley have got to exploit that when the opportunity presents itself.
Leon Ryan, the captain, deals with a lovely ball forward really well and plays it now forward to Chow. Chow inside the penalty area, got two men coming forward. Tries to square it for the advancing Robinson, and it was just too short, and then cleared by Roxton. But Ryan will pick it up again on halfway for Whitley Bay. Looks up, got 5 yellow shirts ahead of him, looking for an option, tries to clip the ball forward. It's cut out, but picked up on this right hand side by Robinson. Slices a lovely ball back to Darren Timmins, who'll bring it forward now, the centre back. Out on the left hand side for McFarlane. Johnson down the line, Kerr just inside him. McFarlane looks for an option, clips it forward, looking for either Johnson or Kerr. It's between them, and then headed clear by Graham Challen, the Wroxham captain, and Whitley Bay will let it run out for a throw-in on that far left-hand side, which they take quickly. Given back to Timmins. Now inside to Hodgson, and they get it back again. Here's Robson looking forward. Robinson now tries to turn away, just forced back on halfway, gives it back to Darren Timmins. Now they look inside. Here comes Damon Robson, looks up. Lee Kerr comes short. They're keeping the ball, Whitley Bay, not going anywhere, Barry, but it's possession. They're keeping the ball, and you have to work harder when you haven't got the ball, and the Wroxham players are being made to work to win this one back. Lee Kerr deep inside his own half there, picking up the ball. He's almost been given a free roll this afternoon. Well,
we expected him to be in the hole behind the two front men as an extra attacker, but he's got back and he's helped out in midfield and in defence when the opportunities required it, and I've been impressed with the way he's adapted to the position. But once again, make the point that Paul Chow has got the beating of the central defender McNeil, and when I made that point 3 or 4 minutes ago, the ball was played forward, it was completely missed by McNeil, and Chow was in again, and it took some last gasp defending to prevent Whitley from going 3-1. So that's where Whitley's success is going to come, there's no question in my mind.
Nice little interchange between Lemon and White on the far right hand side for Wroxham comes to nothing, and Whitley Bay have a throw in just level with the edge of their own penalty area. 10 minutes to go to half time at Wembley. Did have a couple of minutes stoppage though for an injury to Gary Gilmore. He's alright, he's been able to continue, so there will be a couple of minutes added on at the end of this first half, but Whitley Bay leading by 2-1. The holders in front in this FA Vase final. Live from Wembley on BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. Paul Chow tries to win a ball in the air with an acrobatic attempt to bring the ball down, but doesn't manage to get control of the ball, and now Wroxham have it just on halfway. They slow it right down. Here's Pauling, the right back, inside to McNeil. Now Challen gives it wide to Gilmore. He's got a runner, which is Howes down the left-hand side, but well cut out there by Anderson for Whitley Bay. Gives it to Leon Ryan, and now the yellow-shirted side will come and break again. Kerr gives it back to Anderson, looks up, he's got Chow and Johnson forward, looking for Paul Chow, headed out of play though by Martin McNeil, and Whitley Bay have another throw-in, this time at level with the penalty spot in the Wroxham penalty area. It's that ball looking for Paul Chow every time, just as Wroxham look for Spriggs with the long ball over the top. Whitley Bay are looking for Paul Chow, because that's where the danger is, that's where they can get some joy when they play the ball forward. Lee Kerr comes forward to take it, the number 9 for Ian Chandler's side today. He's got a runner, which is Robinson, instead goes back to Robson. Now back to Kerr, got a little bit of space, looks up. Tries to clip a clever ball around the corner, but no one gambled, and Wroxham will get it clear. McNeil will try to get it clear, but Paul Chow, could he have kept that in? In fact, he didn't need to, because Whitley Bay have just won a corner. Again, great work by Paul Chow, and again putting McNeil under pressure, Barry.
McNeil's having a nightmare, not to be too unkind about it. He really had time to clear his lines there, and he should never have allowed Chow to press him and win a corner in that situation.
I had an awful feeling for a moment the linesman was going to give a goal kick as it rebounded off the players, but it did give a corner, which Paul Robinson will take for Whitley Bay on this near right-hand side. Swinger towards the back post. It's a flicked header clear by Cook, the Wroxham goal scorer. and now they will look to bring it clear to Whitley Bay, trying to get men back. Here goes number 10, Danny White, gives it to Spriggs, and now back to Pauling. Whitley Bay have just about got everybody back behind the ball now. They give it to McNeil, who, as Barry said, is having a difficult afternoon at the hands of Paul Chow. Whitley Bay leading by 2-1 here at Wembley. Paul Chow scoring after just 24 seconds, capitalising on uncertainty at the back for Wroxham. The side from Norfolk equalised through Paul Cooper. Then Whitley Bay back in front, courtesy of an own goal from Andy Easthoff after 16 minutes, and that's the way it remains. 8 minutes to half-time on BBC Newcastle, live from Wembley. Matthew Raisbeck, Barry Hindson and Paul Dixon, the commentators, as Wroxham look for a long ball forward, headed clear by the Whitley Bay left-back McFarlane, and now nodded on forward again by Robson, and then a long ball forward, and there's no flag against Adam Johnson, and Adam Johnson is into the penalty area here for Whitley Bay. Johnson still going, cuts across his man, Johnson still going, it's a handball, the shot was blocked, it's still in play. Lee Kerr with a shot that's over the bar. Well, that almost came to something, it's just a ball forward, no flag. Johnson timed his run wonderfully, cut inside, went across a couple of players, had a shot which suspicions of handball as it was blocked, and then it came to Lee Kerr, who flashed a shot just over the bar. But another real chance for Whitley Bay, Barry.
It was good play because Chow was in an offside position. He was missed out, and the ball played to Adam Johnson, who, as you said, timed his run to perfection, got his shot away. I suspect the referee would take the view it was ball to hand, Matthew, but did certainly strike the defender's hand. Seen them given, but there was no protest from the Whitley players.
Paul Dixon is pitch side. Paul, what did you make of that possible penalty shout for Whitley Bay?
Well, yes, he could have given a penalty. Wonderful play by Johnson, though. Great composure in the box, and as Barry keeps saying, and he's dead right, Paul Chow and Johnson causing the back four of Wroxham all kinds of problems.
The look for the long ball again, Whitley Bay towards Paul Chow, but it's headed clear by Wroxham, and then White tries to bring it forward again. The ball just bobbling around, it's all a bit scrappy. Whitley Bay eventually get it clear, and then that's a challenge into the back. Trying to work out which Whitley Bay player it is. I think it's like Paul Robinson. Strong challenge through the back of him there. He's all right. He looked hurt for a moment, but Whitley Bay have a free kick midway inside their own half. This Wembley pitch, it's been much maligned. We talked about it a lot before kick-off, Barry. We said it looked like a carpet. It still looks like a carpet after 40 minutes of play. It's absolutely immaculate. It's a fantastic surface.
It's better than Walker Park, Matthew, that's for sure. Yes, it's playing very, very well, and Whitley playing their football much more now than they were in that frantic early part of the game, and they will be looking to make the best use of this pitch they can, because, as we said in the build-up, they're used to playing on a good surface at Hillheads, and they'll know how to play on this pitch.
But you always expect a frenetic and a frantic start to any final at Wembley, but the pitch certainly holding up to the rigours of this FA Vase final so far. Whitley Bay leading by 2-1, 5 minutes to half-time. BBC Newcastle Radio for the North East. Reaction tomorrow evening, don't forget, in Total Sport from 5:30 with Simon Pride, former Newcastle defender John Anderson and former Sunderland striker Marco Gabbiadini. They're on air every weeknight between 5:30 and 7:30. Why not give them a listen tomorrow night, Whitley Bay fans? 5:30 on BBC Newcastle. Simon Pride, Marco Gabbiadini and John Anderson with Total Sport, as Wroxham take a quick free kick just inside their own half. Whitley Bay have all men back behind the ball in their own half. The ball's forward, looking long for Cook, headed clear by Leon Ryan on the edge of his own penalty area, and now Whitley Bay knock it forward. A little flick on by Johnson, looking for Chow, cleared by Wroxham. Now laid off at the edge of the area to Spriggs, but a strong challenge by Callum Anderson there. Does well to come away, now gives it to Lee Kerr. Nice ball inside, looking for Paul Robinson. Robinson slides in but loses out, and now here comes Danny White forward for Wroxham, looking for Cook in that far corner on that far right hand side. Man at his back, does well to turn away. Cook is forced wide again, will try and swing the cross in though. Cook does get room for the cross, it's a dangerous ball in, and it's sliced all the way up in the air, and then eventually Terry Burke has to turn it behind for a corner. Great little turn by Cook, fired the ball in, sliced all the way up in the air by Leon Ryan, and safety first from Terry Burke, palming it behind for a corner.
Yeah, it was a difficult one for Terry Burke to deal with, because he had players in front of him, and he couldn't get two hands on it and hold it, so he had to concede the corner. Good play by Wroxham, to be fair.
The in-swinger going to be taken by, I think, Gary Gilmore on that far right hand side in front of the empty stand, empty corner at Wembley. Here it comes, in-swinger towards the back post. There's a header on the ball, but it looks like it's going to run out possibly for another corner. No, well defended Leon Ryan as well to keep the ball in play, and then eventually it does roll out for a throw in midway inside the Whitley Bay half. The immediate danger cleared as number 2 Gavin Pauling comes all the way across from right back to left back to take this throw in. In fact, we'll leave it for House. The way he's winding up, looks like he might have a long throw on him. Instead, no, gives it short. Gilmore tries to turn away. It's played into the box, smacked clear by Ryan, headed back in by Pauling. Hodgson lets it bounce and then cleared by Anderson. Laid off nicely by Adam Johnson, and then out wide to Hodgson. Looks over the top for Paul Chow for Whitley Bay. Got a man with him, does well to win a throw in. Paul Chow will settle for that. Whitley Bay can advance forward. They gain a bit of territory, and they take the throw in on that far right hand side quickly. All the way back to Paul Robinson, cutting inside, looks like he's going to go for the shot. Robinson, it's well, not a million miles away. It opened up for him. He had plenty of space, plenty of time. Maybe could have even taken it on a bit further. Eventually the right-footed effort from around about 25-30 yards just flew over the bar, Barry.
Yeah, but we've seen Paul Robinson in that situation many times in the past, put the ball in the top corner, and you would never begrudge him the chance of a shot at goal from 25 yards. As you say, he just got under a little bit, but if another opportunity comes in the same situation, he'll do the same thing again, and sooner or later, if he gets enough of those opportunities, he'll score.
Scott Howie takes the goal kick for Wroxham, and they win the ball in the air from the header from Paul Chow, and then they spread it to the right-hand side. A strong challenge there by Adam Johnson. Almost wins it back for Whitley Bay, but they'll work it across the back line, and a short ball putting Challen under pressure there, and they almost give it away. Wroxham, they don't look comfortable on the ball at all at the back, either on the ground or in the air. They do look nervy, the Wroxham defenders, and Whitley Bay, as we said, looking really to capitalise on that and get themselves a third goal. If they could get a third before half-time, it would be absolutely fantastic, and would give them a really good cushion going into the second half, just as they had last year, of course, a 2-goal cushion going into the second half when they were teaming up against Glossop last year. As a ball forward by Anderson to Paul Robinson, turns away from a couple of men and turns back on himself, just keeps hold of the ball. Sensible play by Robinson. Now Anderson again gives it on this right-hand side, back to Robson. Robson into the number 7, which is Adam Johnson. Turns away from a couple of men, lays it off, and the ball is short though, even for Paul Robinson. But Whitley Bay will pick it up again. Here's Hodgson looking for Lee Kerr. It's all a bit bitty and a bit scrappy. They just need to get the foot on the ball and settle it down as Wroxham clear it long over halfway. Cook with a nice little head on, but Leon Ryan gets there first ahead of Gary Gilmore, and the ball is it's kept in. It looked like it went out of play. Good header from Howes, found Cook, but Whitley Bay do eventually tidy up, and that is good tidy play there by Richard Hodgson, the number 4, to give it all the way back to Terry Burke, making his 400th appearance for Whitley Bay here today at Wembley, as Paul Chow wins a ball in the air and then does well to hold off his man. Good strength from the Whitley Bay goal scorer this afternoon. Looked like he might have won a free kick, but the referee says play on. He's not too happy with that decision. Wroxham bring it clear just inside their own half. They tidy it up. Howes again knocks it forward, looking for the head of Cook, and then the referee does give a free kick for a foul, pushing it back by Leon Ryan on Cook. Whitley Bay denied a free kick and then conceded one themselves, Barry. 2
minutes of added time, Matthew, so Whitley Bay will have to defend this situation and get themselves into the dressing rooms, maintaining that lead of 2-1.
Let's go back to Paul Dixon, who's pitch side. Another dangerous free kick for Wroxham near the Whitley Bay penalty area, Paul.
Got to keep it tight, as Barry says, till half-time. And, I mean, they're a good side, Wroxham. Good going forward. Patient, get the ball down. Got to keep this free kick out here, Matthew.
Site number 8, Gavin Lemon, is going to take it. He swings it towards the backstick. It's dipping, but good hands by Terry Burke in the Whitley Bay goal. Straight down his throat, but he held on to it well. And just buys himself a few seconds, lets all the players clear the penalty area. Has a look behind him, check that nobody is creeping up, ready to pounce on a loose ball, and then bowls it out underarm to the left-back, Craig McFarlane. Knocks it down the line, looking for Johnson. Cleared by Pauling. McFarlane challenges in the air. It's half cleared by Robson. Now Lee Kerr dropping deep to win it. Gives it to Callum Anderson. Looks up, crosses halfway, the Whitley Bay right back. We get Chris Fawcett missing out today out of the Whitley Bay side, picking up a hamstring injury in training this weekend. So unlucky and so disappointing to miss out, as Chow flicks on a ball for Anderson, gets to the byline and then wins a corner for Whitley Bay. His cross is deflected behind, and that's good play by Anderson. Got forward with purpose and intent, and there's been an end product to his delivery down that right-hand side.
He's got forward on 2 or 3 occasions to good effect, Matthew, but again the ball played into the box, inevitably won in the air by Chow, and it was really as a consequence of that header that Whitley Bay got this corner, which Richard Hodgson or Damon Robson will take. Looks like Robson right-footed.
Robson right-footed, swinging in there. Players arriving for it, and it's tipped over the bar. What a fantastic stop that is by Scott Howie. Well, the in-swinging corner there by Damon Robson, number 8, towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and then a header from the Whitley Bay player. It was just flicked towards the back post. I think it was Paul Chow again. It was Paul Chow or Lee Kerr. I think it was Lee Kerr in actual fact. And then a fantastic one-handed save over his own bar by Howie's. Another corner comes in the second time around towards Leon Ryan. Headed clear by a blue shirt. In fact, they've got not one but 2 men down as they both went for that ball in the penalty area. And the physios come on. In fact, the referee, I think, he's blows for half-time as the 2 players are down in the Wroxham penalty area. A bit of concern, actually, for a couple of them, both looking quite a bit of agony. But at half-time then at Wembley, the referee blowing a half-time whistle. Whitley Bay leading by 2 goals to 1. Wroxham prepared to make one change. Number 5, Martin McNeil, who went off on the stretcher at the end of that first half, has been replaced. It's number 23, Josh Carris, who was actually Wroxham's Player of the Year last season. So Josh Carris came on. Martin McNeil, as Barry mentioned, given a bit of a torrid time by Whitley Bay's first goal scorer, Paul Chow, in the first half. He's off with a bad injury. Paul Cook, who's the Wroxham goal scorer, went off with a head wound. He's come on with a bandage, so we'll be able to identify him a bit easier in this second half. But he's on. But one change for Wroxham. No changes for Whitley Bay at the start of this second half. Ian Chandler and Steve Cuggy out in the technical area, in the tracksuits as they have been all match pretty much, as Anthony Taylor, the referee, gets ready to start this second half. We're underway. The second 45 live on BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport, live from Wembley. The FA Vase final between Whitley Bay and Wroxham. Whitley Bay, the holders, leading by 2-1 at the moment. We're also live on the BBC Tyne website as Whitley Bay immediately look to break forward over halfway with Adam Johnson. Picks up a loose ball, sliding challenge with Wroxham player Gavin Paul, and their strong challenge. Whitley Bay keep a hold of the ball, and it's Timmins spreads it out on that right-hand side to Callum Anderson. Gives it all the way back to goalkeeper Terry Burke, who got a bit of a knock himself in the first half, but is thankfully all right under the challenge of Paul Cook. It's been a wholehearted and competitive game, and plenty of challenges flying in. But Burke plays the ball long. Nice little flick on by Adam Johnson to Lee Kerr. Left edge of the area. Kerr cutting inside. Tries to bend the ball. A goal, and what a goal from Lee Kerr. And the Whitley Bay striker does a somersault in the corner in front of the Whitley Bay fans. He is one of their top players, and that is a top draw finish from Lee Kerr. Well, the ball forward from Burke was flicked on by Paul Chow. Adam Johnson with a lovely little back heel to Lee Kerr. He picked it up on the left edge of the penalty area, took on his man, cut inside, and then bent it with very little backlift, right-footed into the top left-hand corner. What a fantastic finish from Lee Kerr. He scored at Wembley last year. He's repeated that feat again this year. Whitley Bay, only just a minute into this second half, have got themselves a third goal. They double their advantage. 46 minutes played at Wembley. Whitley Bay 3, Wroxham 1.
Did exactly what they did in the first half and struck very, very early. Not quite the 20 seconds of the first half, but certainly within a minute of the kick-off to the second. And as Matthew described, it was a beautifully constructed goal. Break off as Terry Burke comes on and clears up for Whitley Bay. Flick by Chow, a quick thinking and instinctive back heel by Adam Johnson, and Lee Kerr, who scored over 100 goals for Whitley and scored in the final last year, made no mistake. It was a really beautiful execution. 25 yards perhaps, top corner, goalkeeper no chance. Brilliant goal by Whitley Bay, just the start they needed for the second half, Matthew.
Lee Kerr, just as Paul Chow, scoring in last year's final and again in this year's final, though in a different order. Not that they will matter, as Chow plays a ball over the top for Adam Johnson to chase. The offside flag is up. He strayed at just a yard or two offside. A man who would have been absolutely thrilled and honoured probably to score that goal at Wembley is BBC Newcastle's Paul Dixon, a former striker, a former FA Vase winner. What about that finish from Lee Kerr?
That was special, Matthew. Real special quality. Just shifted his feet and it bent. Goalkeeper, absolutely no chance. A special player and a special goal.
Absolutely. We were right behind it here, Paul. You had a good view of it as well. Very little backlift as well. The technique absolutely unbelievable, and that is as good a goal as Wembley has seen.
Well, I would agree with that. And I mean, the two players who scored last year to come back this year and do it all over again. Terrific play by Whitley Bay.
As Adam Johnson heads on looking for Paul Chow, but Scott Howie, the Wroxham goalkeeper, is quick off his line to pick up the ball. And well, you wouldn't want to be a Wroxham fan, player or manager, would you? I mean, the start of both halves, Barry, you concede a goal instantly. I mean, there's your team talk before the game and at half-time. Completely shattered within what, 20 seconds in the first half and then a minute in the second half.
Well, it's a body blow at the worst conceivable time, because they've had to change their side at half-time. They've got a player out there who's got his head strapped and who's not obviously as effective as he would have been had he not been hurt. They've had to take off their captain, who, although he had a poor first half, could only have got better in the second, frankly, but his mere presence on the pitch as a captain and a leader will be missed. And then to concede the goal, they must think that this is not their day, and whilst they're in a good attacking position for a set piece now, similar to the one that brought them back into the goal in the game in the first half, if they don't do something similar fairly quickly, this game could be wrestled away from them by Whitley Bay.
Gavin Lemon swings the free kick in from the right, rather floats it more than swings it. It's going to run all the way back to Terry Burke in the Whitley Bay goal in his pink goalkeeper's jersey today. His 400th appearance for Whitley Bay. Absolutely fantastic. What a servant he's been for Whitley Bay. Keeping a very good goalkeeper in Tom Kindley on the bench as well, who's attracted interest from Premier League clubs. He's a name to look out for in the future. Very, very talented, very highly rated, and just 18 years old. As well as Whitley Bay have a throw-in taken by Craig McFarlane just inside the Wroxham half. Going to switch the ball onto the right-hand side, across halfway to Callum Anderson. Just has his foot on the ball, looks inside, gives it to Paul Robinson. Anderson slips, but manages just to pick up the return ball, tries to get away from his man, and is actually fouled by a blue shirt. And the referee gives a free kick. 1 or 2 afters with Anderson and Gilmore, the Wroxham left winger. And I think Anderson was too happy with the kick that he received there. Referee Anthony Taylor just calming things down over there on that far left-hand side. And I think it's like Paul Robinson in absolute acres on this left-hand side. There's nobody marking him. If he could switch the ball, he was absolutely free on his own. Instead, they tried to play it short down the right-hand side, and it's cleared by Wroxham up towards Cook, the goal scorer, with the bandaged head after that collision right at the end of the first half from a Whitley Bay corner. Wroxham defender takes a ride on the back, surely, of what looks like Richard Hodgson, but nothing doing for the referee from that perspective, and actually gives the free kick to Wroxham. Must have been a case of Hodgson giving the defender a ride on his back rather than making a back for the defender. And a goal at Molineux, 2 goals at Molineux. It's Wolves 1, Sunderland 1 in the Premier League, as the free kick is floated in. Terry Burke that comes and is strong, and good hands again. Well, just about every time he's been called upon this afternoon, Terry Burke's handling's been absolutely superb. He's done very, very well there. Got the ball with both hands and very, very calmly brought it down, and now clears up towards Paul Chow. Ball bounces, half cleared by Wroxham, only as far as Lee Kerr. Kerr tries to skip away from a couple of players. It's cleared up to Cook. Cook, nice little ball inside, but picked up though by Lee Kerr, who again is dropping deep and just getting on the ball there. He's he is in a free roll today, and he dips a lovely ball forward there down that left-hand side, looking for Adam Johnson, but just too much on it, and it rolls out of play for a Wroxham goal kick. Goalkeeper Scott Harry will take, as saying at Molineux, Wolves 1, Sunderland needing to win, and other results to go their way for them to finish in the top 10 in the Premier League this season. They'll be on the first page of CFAX. Be a good achievement for Steve Bruce in his first season in charge. Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett live at Molineux for BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. That's on our FM frequencies, though. We're live from Wembley. Matthew Raisbeck, Barry Heinsohn and Paul Dixon on DAB 14:58 AM and the BBC Time website. As a sliding challenge from Paul Chow. It's just a little bit late on Sean Howes, the Wroxham left-back, and the referee Anthony Taylor just has a word with him. Just tells him just to keep it calm, and the Wroxham have a free kick just 5 yards inside their own half, right on the touchline over there. Howes himself will take with that left foot. His delivery's been good today. He's played a few balls into the box, taken a couple of free kicks, but that one is straight to Leon Ryan. He cuts it out and continues his run forward as Chow heads on, looking for Robinson. A little flick on there. Johnson had gambled. The ball is played back to the Wroxham goalkeeper. It's a dodgy little touch, and he almost is intercepted by the sliding challenge there of the Whitley Bay player Adam Johnson, who was the furthest man forward, decided to close down the keeper and very nearly got lucky. Now Whitley Bay have it deep inside their own half. 52 minutes played at Wembley. Whitley Bay leading by 3-1 on BBC Newcastle, home of North East Sport. Wroxham again give it back to the keeper. This time Chow closes down, and the goal kick again is poured straight to Paul Chow. Now still turned away by Robinson now. Holds off his man as well. Paul Robinson gets to the byline. Chow and Johnson in the middle. Pulls it all the way back. Oh, and a good strong sliding challenge there. And a free kick given actually for the foul by, I think it was Damon Robson coming in, trying to get on the end of that Paul Robinson cutback. Strong sliding challenge, I think, from the substitute there, Josh Carras, for Wroxham, and the referee gives a free kick. Great work though by Paul Robinson. Barry got to the byline and pulled it back. Strong challenge by Carras to avert the danger. Yeah,
it was tremendous play by Robinson, and the vision of his pass was good as well, but as you say, good defending, and can't for the life of me see why a free kick was awarded against the Whitley player, who made a genuine challenge for the ball.
And that very nearly got it as well, as Wroxham will come away with the ball on that left-hand side. Clipped forward, up to Cook, brings it down on his chest, turns away from a couple of men. That's good play. Sliding challenge from Timmins, just holds him up, but only momentarily, and then it's out wide to Danny White. on this right-hand side. Now to Gavin Pauling. Back inside to White. Looks up, got a man left. Instead tries to play it inside to Spriggs, but it's picked up by Whitley Bay. The blue shirts of Wroxham, blue and white shirts, win it back in a nice little chip forward by Spriggs. And they've got to find themselves in a bit of space here. Turn away there by Gavin Lemon, but picked up by Whitley Bay and up towards Paul Chow. Man at his back, lays it off. Nice little play, and Robinson will try and bring it clear, but he was fouled. And Whitley Bay have a free kick in their own half and a chance to get a bit of respite and have a bit of a breather. It's been a frantic couple of minutes, Barry.
It has, and Matthew, we've now just had it officially confirmed by the people here at Wembley Stadium that the goal which we've been talking about in terms of its timing was 21 seconds. 21
seconds. I think we were both a couple of seconds out. I went for 19 or 20. You went for 22 and 23. Some went for 24. But Paul Chow, fastest goal at Wembley. What an accolade for the Whitley Bay striker. Scoring last year and then scoring again this year. A header, capitalising on some bad defending from the Roxton players as a ball over the top by Cook. Looking for Gary Gilmore is just too strong, and then picked up by Terry Burke, the Whitley Bay goalkeeper. Well, we're 10 minutes into the second half. The options on the bench for Whitley Bay, they're leading 3-1, so no real rush to change it, but he would certainly want to give some players game time. Ian Chandler, he's got Phil Bell on there, who scored in the first leg of the semi-final. Joshua Gillies is on the bench as well. Chris Reed and Lee Picton, who played last year as well, Barry. You'd think that maybe in possibly about 5 or 10 minutes time he might think of bringing on one or two fresh legs just to give some players some experience of playing on this pitch at Wembley.
I wouldn't be changing anything quite yet because the adrenaline's still flowing. Whitley are 3-1 in the lead, and the combination that they've got on the field is working very, very well. But as you say, he will at some point look at fresh legs, and it will be Lee Picton as a defender, Josh Gillies probably as a wide man, and Phil Bell as a striker, who will be the players who will be most foremost in his mind. But at the moment there doesn't seem to be anyone who's struggling for energy, Matthew. They're all running around full of the confidence that a 3-1 lead in the second half of a cup final at Wembley gives you.
And of course, the longer they keep things as it is, the more it deflates Wroxham, the more it takes the stuffing out of them, and the less time of course they have to get back into the game. 35 minutes to go. Whitley Bay leading by 3-1. BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport, live at Wembley, the FA Vase final. We were there last year as Whitley Bay beat Glossop North End, and we're here in 2010 as they look to retain the trophy. Bit of that confusion in the Whitley Bay defence. Eventually Terry Burke picks up the ball. Leon Ryan wanted to leave it for his keeper. The keeper wanted Ryan to get rid of it. Eventually Terry Burke came out and picked the ball up as a long ball forward by Wroxham was causing one or two concerns in the back line, and there's an offside flag up against Adam Johnson from Burke's long goal kick. And Wroxham preparing their second change of the game. Now they're going to bring on at number 16, who's Ross Durant. He's going to come on. We'll wait who he comes on for. He's a young forward. He's had a few injuries this season, so he's been in and out of the team. Not a regular by any means, but they're going to bring off number 2, Gavin Pauling. 39-year-old off for one of their younger players, Gavin Pauling, the right back. It's a very attacking, a positive move by David Batch, the Wroxham manager.
Yeah.
Right back off and a striker on.
Yeah, well, that sends out a powerful message, but it also says to Whitley Bay, if we can get the ball forward with consistency and with accuracy, then the options are better for us, because as a defender there's to prevent us from getting shots at goal.
And already Whitley Bay attack. Adam Johnson tried to play in Paul Chow, but it's cleared by Wroxham, flicked off in the air, laid off nicely by Cook. Just too much on it. He looks like he's got something about him, Paul Cook, the Wroxham centre forward. He's a big, tough player, isn't he? But
he's got a decent touch as well, and of course he also scored the goal that brought them level after Whitley took the lead after just 21 seconds.
Inside to Alika, nicely laid off and gets it back from Robinson. Kerr in the penalty area, looks to clip a ball towards the back post. It's flicked on and then drops down for Robinson's going to try a shot at goal. It's tipped over the bar. Good hands by the goalkeeper there, Scott Howe. It's a fantastic save. The ball into the box by Alika was flicked on, and then at the back post, Paul Robinson, the man who got the winner in the semi-final, brought it down on his left foot, cut inside, and from an angle around about 10 yards out, had a shot, and good strong hands to turn it around the post by the keeper. Paul Dixon is pitch side just before the corner. Great effort from Robinson. In fact, they take the corner quickly. Will stay with it. It's played into the box, half cleared though by Wroxham. Comes out again. Hodgson will whip the ball in. It's nodded clear by Challen, the captain. Into Paul Chow, tries to turn away from his man at the edge of the area. Chow gets a shot in, and again hands by the keeper, and then it's turned in by Whitley Bay, and they've got a fourth goal. And sliding in, a yellow shirt has turned the ball into into the back of the net from the parry by the keeper. Well, the corner was put back in, it was headed clear, and then it went back into Paul Chow, who held off his man, turned, and then got a shot in left-footed, and then it was saved by the keeper. But Adam Johnson, the number 7, following up, sliding in, reacted quickest, got there ahead of the keeper and the Wroxham defender, and smashed the ball home from no more than 3 yards. And at Wembley, Whitley Bay have got themselves a 4th goal. Adam Johnson there, well, what a moment for him. Nearly scored from inside his own half last year. This time much closer in, 3 or 4 yards, sliding in. Whitley Bay have got themselves a 4th goal, and after 59 minutes at Wembley, Whitley Bay firmly in the driving seat. They cannot lose it now, surely. It's Whitley Bay, the holders 4, Wroxham 1.
And Wroxham's manager, unfortunately, paying the price of sacrificing in defending, trying to get the goal that would bring his side back into the game. He had to do something, and that was what he chose to do. And Whitley, quick to exploit it. A good build-up and an excellent finish. And Whitley, as you say, have the game to lose now at 4-1. It's with half an hour to go. You would think it would be very difficult for them not to win the cup.
Whitley Bay about to bring on Phil Bell. He is stripped and ready on the touchline, having a word with Ian Chandler. Also on the touchline for BBC Newcastle is Paul Dixon. Paul, we nearly came to you. It's a good job we didn't, because Whitley Bay went and got that 4th goal, following up from Adam Johnson, as all good strikers should do. Gets himself a goal, and Whitley in a really commanding position now.
Brilliant position, yes. But wasn't he sharp, Johnson? I mean, he's had a very good game this afternoon, but it was a good save by the keeper, and there was Johnson, like good strikers do, following up and putting the ball in the net. I mean, it's exhibition stuff now, we'll see from Whitley Bay. 4-1, Phil Bell coming on now, and he deserves to come on because he's played his part this season in the FA Vase run.
Do you think Wroxham are a bit in disarray? They've had players off injured, they've changed the formation, they've had to go for it, they've left themselves open, and, you know, it could be anything Whitley Bay want now, Paul.
Well, I think you're right, Matthew. I think Wroxham, they're a bit disjointed, and, you know, I think Whitley Bay now can score a couple of more goals here at Wembley. Fascinating that they've scored 4 already, but I think there's more goals to come from Whitley.
Paul Chow has been the man replaced by Phil Bell. He got an absolutely tremendous reception from the travelling Whitley Bay supporters, and why not? Scored the 1st goal. He was involved in the 3rd, and then of course involved in the 2nd. His shot parried, 4th rather, his shot saved by the keeper, parried at the feet of Adam Johnson, who turned it in. Barry Heinsohn.
Paul Chow's been Whitley's man of the match, in my opinion. He's played an hour, he's scored the early goal, and he's been a thorn in the side of the Wroxham defence throughout the afternoon. But I think the reason for the change is because the defender that Chow was giving such a torrid afternoon to, McIntyre, the captain, hasn't come out for the 2nd half because he's got a bad cut over his eye, and so a different kind of defensive challenge faces Whitley Bay. And Ian Chandler, quick to see that, said, OK, let's give Chow credit for what he's done, and let's bring on fresh legs against a now 3-man back 4 instead of a 4-man back 4, and let's see if we can put this game well and truly out of sight. Good thinking by Chandler.
And Paul Chow, of course, your man of the match today. Lee Kerr was man of the match last year, so nice for Paul Chow, who's scored the 1st goal today and has had a hand in the other Whitley Bay goals. Paul Dixon. Paul Chow has been a fantastic player for Whitley Bay. He just scores goals. He's such a threat, and he's had a marvellous afternoon, hasn't he?
Well, he has, and he's a terrific goal scorer and a terrific lad as well. He'll be absolutely thrilled, and I think Ian Chandler will be pleased that he can get Phil Bell on. Very, very disappointed, he was telling me, that he wasn't selected in the first 11. So, I mean, he'll be pleased. And when you bring him on, when you're winning 4-1, there's a bit relaxation there. But Paul Chow been brilliant for 60 minutes.
It'd be nice for Phil Bell if he could get himself a goal. Even seen on the action, Whitley Bay have managed to win themselves a throw-in deep inside the Wroxham half, just level with the penalty area. It's going to be swung in there by Anderson. Flicked on there. Oh, Nelly reached Robson, and then a ball played in by Paul Robinson. Johnson will try and win it for Whitley Bay. Wroxham just about get it clear, but Paul Robinson manages to bite in with a challenge and gets away from a couple of men. It's a good strong challenge though by Spriggs, and Wroxham clears it halfway and then headed out of play for a throw into the side from Norfolk by Leon Ryan, the Whitley Bay skipper, in the absence of David Coulson, of course, injured in the semi-final against Barwell. Ryan captaining the side to Northumberland Senior Cup victory over Ashington at St James's Park. Also captained the Hetton Lions side to the FA Sunday Cup at Anfield last month, and now set to captain Whitley Bay this afternoon to victory at Wembley in the FA Vase. 26 minutes left of normal time here at Wembley. BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. Whitley Bay 4, Wroxham 1 in this FA Vase final. We thought might be a little bit closer than it has actually proved to be. and now possibly Whitley Bay can go on and get themselves a couple more goals, you'd hope, as Wroxham, well, they will give it everything to try and get back in the game, but one or two heads have already started to drop, and it's a real uphill task for them. And of course they are running out of time, but they have still got the best part of half an hour to get something out of this game, as the Sean Howes, the left back, prepares to take this free kick just around about 5 yards inside the Whitley Bay half. He clips it forward towards the back stick. Terry Berg comes, gets it a flick on it, and palms it behind for a corner kick. First time Terry Berg not completely commanding when it comes to the ball, but he wasn't under pressure, and it was important he got a hand on that one, Barry, because there were two blue and white shirts just behind him ready to head the ball in. Yeah,
he came just a little too far, and instead of being able to catch it, he had to palm it away, but his experience told him that was what he needed to do, and he did it. And so hopefully the danger will be averted when Whitley clear this corner. Let's hope so.
Yeah, corner is taken short. It's in swing. In fact, it's played all the way to the edge of the area to number 11, and then a shot comes in, blocked by the Whitley Bay number 11, Paul Robinson. Gavin Lemon tries to win the ball on the right-hand side, and he's well, a free kick's been given by the referee. A strong challenge there by Callum Anderson. Didn't see too much wrong with it, but he obviously jumped into his man, and the referee's given it a free kick to Wroxham, a yard outside the edge of the penalty area, just on the corner. And number 7, Steve Spriggs, their main threat in the early part of the first half, is over it. Looks like he might have a shot at goal. It's a dangerous position, and well, we said that, you know, maybe the heads are starting to drop. If they could get one now, Barry, it would be all to play for, as the referee makes sure the wall is 10 yards. Spriggs bends it at goal. It's over the bar. It's an absolute waste. He gave him the big build-up, and he couldn't deliver, and the danger.
Well, there's one thing for certain, Matthew, we can't blame the pitch. The pitch is excellent despite the criticism that it's had, and he just got underneath it. I think Justice Dunder would agree there, Matthew, because it seemed a harsh decision to award a free kick for what looked a fairly innocuous challenge. Official attendance has gone up there, 8,920. Bit disappointing that, Matthew, but I guess that's because Wroxham have brought rather fewer than we had hoped.
When we look around the stadium, there are more gaps at the Wroxham end, and it looks like one or two might even be heading inside. I hope they're not leaving, but there are more gaps at the Wroxham end than there are Whitley Bay, and Whitley Bay had sold 4,800 tickets. The chairman, Paul McElduff, speaking on BBC Newcastle's Total Sport on Friday, told us many more fans had already bought tickets through the FA rather than the club. So Whitley Bay will certainly have brought at least 5,000, so they've certainly got more than half the crowd here. Just over 12,000 here last year, but still a good crowd inside Wembley, as a long free kick is taken by Darren Timmins towards the back stick in the penalty area, headed though into the hands of the goalkeeper, Scott Howie, and he will bring the ball out. But just under 9,000, it's a good crowd for this level, and this sort of crowd that these players want to always play in front of, and it's been a good atmosphere as well. As here comes Gilmore cutting inside into the penalty area for Roxton, clips it, a nice little ball in, and then the header is just wide.
Good chance,
while arriving from midfield there, the Wroxham midfielder trying to work out which man it is. I think it was the number 10, Danny White. Great little ball, quick ball forward, and it was Gilmore down that left-hand side, got to the ball and cut back inside, and clipped a lovely ball in, and arriving, timed his run to perfection, Danny White, and they just got underneath the ball and looped his header behind the post. But a good chance, as you say,
Barry. Should have done better, Matthew, as you say. Beautiful build-up and a good ball in by Gilmore, and the player was well positioned. Should have done better, and just a little wake-up call there to Whitley Bay to remind them that it may be 4-1, but they've got to keep their concentration and their focus. And chance of a break now through Paul Robinson in space.
22 minutes to go. Robinson attacking the penalty area of Wroxham, clips it to the left-hand side to Lee Kerr with the man at his back. Lays it off for McFarlane at left-back. Inside to Damon Robson. Now to Darren Timmins, crossing halfway the centre-back. Looks up, nice little ball into, Johnson, lovely little flick, and now Phil Bell is in, but he's offside, and that was close. I'd like to see that one again. Phil Bell running across the line. Johnson looked like he was going to play it to Lee Kerr, but plenty of disguise on the ball, and Phil Bell was he ran onto it, but the flag went up from the linesman on the far side. I would like to see that one again, Barry.
Must have been close, Matthew, because the Whitley people in the crowd, obviously they're biased, but they looked and didn't like the decision, and we haven't had the chance of a replay of it, but it looked pretty close, and something that we predicted before the game. Substitution for Whitley Bay, Darren Timmins bringing
Lee Picton is about to come on, but first
his experience to bear.
First Wroxham will make a change. Barry, Andy Eastoff, who scored the own goal, has been replaced by Owen Painter, and Lee Picton, who of course played last year, he's about to come on. He's going to replace number 4, Richard Hodgson, who gets a tremendous reception by the Whitley Bay fans. As a man, they rise to their feet. Fantastic applause. he's really played his part today in midfield, Richard Hodgson. And Lee Picton comes on to play his part for Whitley Bay in this final 20 minutes. So Whitley Bay have made 2 changes. Wroxham have used all 3 of their substitutions as Cook tries to win a corner in this on this near side, and does in fact. No, he doesn't win a corner. It's a goal kick. Well, the linesman was right in front of it. It looked like it hit a yellow shirt and went out, and he gives a goal kick.
I'm perfectly happy with that decision, Matthew, I have to say.
Who'd be an official. But Lee Picton is on for Whitley Bay, and Owen Painter is on for Wroxham. So one more change for Ian Chandler to play with.
I think that's another good decision by Chandler, to be honest, Matthew. Picton is a defender, essentially, a left-back or a central defender. What he will do, he'll go to left-back, and McFarlane will push forward into midfield. But it's fresh legs, but it's experience as well. Lee Picton's been around a long time, and he will help to see to it that they don't do any sloppy defending and give Wroxham even a whisper of getting back into this final.
Nice ball by Danny White, finds Howes on the left-hand side. He plays it forward looking for Spriggs. Cook gets the ball, tries to turn away, and then nice play by Anderson to play at one side of Spriggs and then go the other side. His ball forward looking for Phil Bell. Is tidied up by the Wroxham centre-half, Karras, knocked forward, and now here's Darren Timmins, rather. He's picking the ball up in the centre-back position, looking for Adam Johnson. Man at his back, lays it off now for Picton. Kerr makes a good run forward, couldn't find him. Now the ball forward from Robson does find Kerr, but his flick on is picked up by the Roxton defender, who's put under pressure by Adam Johnson, and that's good work. The desire is still there, even though the 4-1 up, 20 minutes remaining in the corner. Adam Johnson putting pressure on the Wroxham, the captain Graham Challen, winning a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area.
The gaps are there because of the 3-man central defending situation. Lee Picton, who's come on, will take the throw. He takes a long throw, Matthew, so this could be interesting.
He's winding up that long throw, and it goes to the penalty area. And then a flick on. Oh, it nearly went to the back post, and it's smashed behind and out for a corner to Whitley Bay. Paul Dixon, Lee Picton with a long throw. It's a weapon Whitley Bay can exploit in these closing stages.
Well, I think it's very easy for Whitley. I think they're dejected now, Wroxham. I think they now know they're getting beat 4-1. And Whitley are really enjoying themselves now. And bringing Phil Bell on and Lee Picton just added a bit more excitement into the Whitley Bay team.
Corner towards the near post, flicked across his own goal by a blue and white shirt. Half cleared by Wroxham, and then all the way up in the air towards halfway. And then a free kick given for a pull on the shirt on... looked like his number 3 was Craig McFarlane, had his shirt pulled by the Wroxham forward. The referee gives it a free kick to Whitley Bay. So not often, we haven't got many of those decisions. The 50-50s have tended to gone to Wroxham today, but they get a free kick just on their own half, which number 8, Damon Robson, will take. Clips it forward, looking for Phil Bell. Bell goes for it. Ooh, just couldn't stretch out his leg far enough, and it was an inviting ball in by Robson, and it's flicked straight into the hands of the goalkeeper, Terry Burke. Now forward, smashed clear, back in by Leon Ryan, looking for Adam Johnson. Tries to bring it down. Johnson, man at his back, headed well defended there by number 4, Graham Challen for Wroxham. Headed all the way back to his goalkeeper. As Paul Dixon says, Barry, they look pretty dejected now. Wroxham, 1 or 2 heads are down, and now they give the ball away in midfield. Lee Kerr has it, approaching the penalty area, plays it inside. Phil Bell has it. Oh, nice little back heel, and a chance for a 5th for Whitley Bay. Oh, and they just walk the ball into the hands of the goalkeeper. Well, it was just too elaborate. Well, Lee Kerr picked the ball up from the loose clearance. He then laid it off for Phil Bell. He could have took it on himself, but he instead saw the run, I think, of Paul Robinson, who ran round the back. A back heel by Phil Bell. Robinson took it on, cut inside his man, and just had one touch too many, and tried to round the goalkeeper when maybe he should have shot, and that could have been a 5th and a well-deserved goal for Paul Robinson at Wembley. But he's
played very well, and I'm sure he thought he was going to score then, but I lost his footing, I think, at the crucial moment. But a wonderful build-up by Whitley against, as you and Paul have said, a team that's now frankly beginning to look demoralised, and we hope this doesn't become embarrassing.
Here come Whitley Bay again, a chance for the ball to be put into the box. It's Bell to the byline. He wins the corner on that far right-hand side. Well, Paul Robinson with a great chance there to get himself a goal, and having got the winner in the semi, having missed out of a starting place last year, it would have been really fitting for him to have got on the score sheet today.
He would be thinking he was going to score, Matthew. Matthew, they're down here and they're singing, "It's just like watching Brazil."
playing in the yellow and blue shirts, as well as the corner comes in, headed up in the air by the Wroxham defender Challen. Whitley Bay tried to turn it back in, Lee Kerr, but Wroxham can knock it clear, looking for the runner of Spriggs. They just seem to leave him up when they've got corners now. He does well to hold Callum Anderson up, plays a ball inside, nice little 1-2, gets it back from Gilmore to the byline. Spriggs wins a corner for Wroxham. Good play.
You've got to feel sorry for Spriggs, because he's really been the principal threat, along with the centre forward who's been less effective second half, Paul Cook, because he's carrying that head injury. But Spriggs really has been their outstanding player, and he deserves something out of the game.
The corner taken short to the back edge of the penalty area. They're trying to cut into the penalty area. Here's it's Lemon, and plays it to the left-hand side. Spriggs now will cross the ball, and it's a good ball. That's an important header clear. It drops, and then a block on the shot. Well, the shot came in from the number 14, which is from the number 16, rather, Ross Durant, the substitute. The cross played in by Spriggs, an important header clear there. I think that might have been from Leon Ryan.
Great block by Lee Picton. Great block.
And then the volley came in from Durant, and it was a fantastic block. Beautiful execution from Durant, but Picton with an important block as Terry Burke was beaten to turn the ball behind for another corner, which Wroxham will take now. An in-swinger from Howes towards the near post, cleared only to the blue and white shirt at the edge of the area. Half a shot, and then Whitley Bay will try and get it clear, but they cut inside again. Wroxham, and another block, this time from Paul Robinson. Howes back into the middle, and then a heavy touch by Challen up from the back, and the ball is in the hands of Terry Burke, and Whitley Bay can clear. The final two Whitley Bay outfield players doing a couple of extra warm-ups. Ian Chandler still has one substitution to make. Chris Reed and Josh Gillies, the substitutes, as Johnson advances on the penalty area. Adam Johnson cutting inside, lays it back to the edge of the area. Here's a chance. Robinson to Bell in the area. Phil Bell always slips as he tries to take on his man. Still has it. Now back to Robinson, goes down, and the referee has given. What's he given? He's going to die. He's going to book Paul Robinson for diving. Well, he pointed, and it looked like he might have been pointing to the penalty spot. Well, Paul Robinson gave the ball to Phil Bell, who looked like he was going to take his man on and get a yard of space to shoot. He then slipped, managed to keep hold of the ball, gave it back to Robinson, who flicked it between two men and went down. It looked like a penalty, but a yellow card for Paul Robinson for diving. He's desperate to get on the score sheet today. And number 14, Joshua Gillies, Barry, is going to come on now to play Wembley. He'll replace number 7, Adam Johnson, the Whitley Bay's 4th goal scorer today.
And I think this is just a case of fresh legs. Adam Johnson's had an outstanding game for Whitley Bay, scored one of the goals, and he's been right throughout the game a threat to the Wroxham back four. Going back to the incident with Robinson there, I think if he'd shot first time he could probably have scored, and certainly he would have got away with not being booked. So I guess a bit of over-exuberance on his part, but they won't mind. They're leading 4-1 and we're into the last quarter of an hour.
BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sports. Spriggs plays a ball into the back stick. It's brought down and smashed clear by Whitley Bay. Howes, good touch, picks it up. The two Wroxham players go for the ball. Howes still going with an effort. Oh, what a strike! And it's Terry Burke got something on it to turn it behind. It bobbled just in front of him, and it seemed to bounce off his knee and behind goal. Well, the ball was smashed clear by Whitley Bay. Howes picked it up, brought the ball down beautifully. It was a heavy touch. His teammate almost took it off him, but he carried on, drove on through, powered on through, and a fantastic drilled shot, left-footed, bounced in front of Terry Burke, hit his knee and went behind for a corner, which they will take Wroxham towards the penalty spot, headed down and then into the hands of Terry Burke. Well, they've in the last 5 minutes have come more and more into it, Barry, and they're
having a go. To be fair to them, the game's lost, but the heads that were down, they've obviously said, well, look, we're at Wembley, we're in a final, we may be going to lose, but let's give a good account of ourselves, and they have done that, and that was almost a goal. Terry Burke got something on it, got his body behind it, but couldn't hold it. And it was a terrific strike.
Now Lee Kerr tries to win a free kick from a ball over the top, just shoulder barged off it. Nothing doing for the referee. Let's go back to Paul Dixon, who's pitch side. Lots to talk about, Paul. First, that chance for Wroxham, that shot, but the penalty appeal for Whitley Bay resulting in a yellow card for Paul Robinson for diving.
Well, I think Ian Chandler's had him to the bats in practicing a few diving there. It was, it's Paul's desperate to get on the goal sheet, isn't he? He's played very, very well, and he's had a couple of half chances. Still got 12 minutes to go yet, and he may well get get a goal. I hope he does.
And Joshua Gillies on for Whitley Bay. He replaces Adam Johnson, who's had a fantastic game, got himself a goal, came so close last year with an audacious effort on the score sheet, and Gillies on to get the last 15 minutes or so.
Well, he deserves a run out because he's played his part, Matthew, and let's hope that he picks up the winner's medal. I don't think there's much doubt about that now. 4-1 with 79 minutes gone, but fair play to Wroxham, as we say. The last 10 minutes or so, they've had more than one decent attempt on goal, and but for Terry Burke getting something on that pile driver of a shot just now, it would have been 4-2, and whilst even that wouldn't have been enough, you never know in football, but Whitley clearly still in the ascendancy, and a bad challenge on Phil Bell there, and that would be another booking, and this time it will be Sean Howes who goes into the referee's book.
It's a yellow card for the Wroxham player Phil Bell. Sliding challenge on him. He got the ball, but the man came right through the back, and a yellow card inside the centre circle. Whitley Bay, as we say, leading 4-1. Last 10 minutes of normal time. It's BBC Newcastle, the home of North East Sport. Don't forget Total Sport back tomorrow evening at 5:30 with Simon Pride, former Sunderland striker Marco Gabbiadini, and former Newcastle and Republic of Ireland defender John Anderson. All the reaction from Wembley. We'll hear from some of the men involved for Whitley Bay as they look pretty certain of retaining this FA Vase trophy. BBC Newcastle's Total Sport tomorrow evening from 5:30. Give it a listen tomorrow, especially if you haven't heard the show before. Well worth a listen. Lots of reaction from Wembley and of course from Molineux, where Wolves are playing Sunderland in the Premier League. It's a sliding challenge and it's going to result in a yellow card, I think, there for Craig McFarlane for Whitley Bay. Chance of off from the Wroxham fans. Yellow card. He was just late. He did it once in the first half on Spriggs, and just caught him again there with a late challenge. No malice again, Barry, but just...
But it was an unnecessary challenge in the context of the game, to be fair, and you can't complain of getting a yellow card because he brought the player down, and there was a semblance of 2 feet as well as a foul challenge.
Cook wins the ball in the air from captain Leo Ryan. Plays a nice little ball inside. Here's Durant in the penalty area, twisting and turning, pull back, and then a shot at goal straight out of the hands of Terry Burke, who was trying to work out who it was. It was number 8, Gavin Lemon, who had the shot right-footed direction, but no power, and easy for the keeper, who plays it long up towards the head of Phil Bell, gets a header on it. Now on the right-hand side, Paul Robinson challenging with Spriggs. There's a lot to turn away, plays a little 1-2. Now they work it nicely inside, and Ross Durant picks the ball up, clips it out to the right back. It's out, in fact, to Danny Whittle. And Wroxham still have the ball. Play it out onto that left-hand side to the left back, Sean Howes. They're just keeping the ball. Wroxham not really going anywhere now. They're playing a nice little 1-2 down the left-hand side, but Anderson does well to get there, and he gives away a free kick. It doesn't look like a foul. He's pleading that he got the ball with the referee. The referee, maybe he's having a bit of sympathy for the side from Norfolk here. 4-1 down, gives away a free kick. Didn't look much in that at all. Both players sliding in. Anderson seemed to get something on the ball rather than the man, but the referee, he's given a free kick, which is level with the edge of the Whitley Bay penalty area on that far right-hand side. It'll be an in-swinger taken by Lemon. But 5-6 men in the box. It's towards the back post, but punched by Terry Burke, and it'll be out of play for a throw-in to Whitley Bay, to Wroxham. Just on line with a penalty spot. Now here comes Durant, trying to get to the byline. Lee Picton, though, strong with a challenge and half cleared by Whitley Bay. They come back inside, though. Ball played into the area, cut out by Paul Robinson, and now Kirkham breaking. He's got Phil Bell making a run. It's a great ball by Lee Kerr, and Bell's away. Phil Bell's away. He's got a man to the left and a man going right. What can he do? Phil Bell, will he go it alone? Phil Bell, edge of the area. He is going to go it alone. Phil Bell, it's inches wide. Well, he shot right-footed. It was a fantastic effort. In fact, the flag is up from the linesman, indicating a goal kick, claims of a corner, but a run from Phil Bell. Super ball by Lee Kerr to find him, Barry. He had Robinson tearing away left-hand side.
Yeah, he should have given it to Robinson first time, really. He went on his own and went for glory, to be fair, and Robinson was just in such a magnificent situation that the defence was opened up, and he would have been odds on to score, but Phil Bell thought, well, I'm going to get my name on the score sheet, and at 4-1 I suppose it's forgivable. If it had been 1-1, it might have been a different story, Matthew.
And it was Gillies making the run, I think, on the right hand side as Wroxham play a ball down their right hand side. Spriggs tries to pull it back, but it's intercepted by Leon Ryan, and he gives it to Timmins, who completes the clearance. Let's go back to Paul Dixon on the touchline. Paul, great chance there for Phil Bell to score. Maybe he should have looked up and given it to Paul Robinson, though, who made a great run and was possibly in a better position there.
I would agree with Barry, though. I mean, he's just come on. He's wanting to score. You're right. If it had been a needed goal, I think he would have needed to pass it. But he wanted glory himself. And
here comes Lee Picton with a cross into the box. It's headed up in the air, well brought down by Lee Kerr. Whitley Bay still have it. Great touch by Kerr. Picton's ball back to Kerr is short, and now Wroxham have it in centre midfield. Now into centre circle. Durant looks to the left-hand side. They've got a man off the pitch, actually injured, Roxton. They're down to 10 men temporarily, but here they come. Edge of the area, strong challenge by Anderson. Still have it though, Wroxham.
It's Spriggs who's down there.
Spriggs who's down the danger man. They have it now.
His knee.
Danny White clips the ball into the box looking for a Cookhill challenge with Terry Burke, but just too much on it, and it drops behind the goal for a goal kick. 5 minutes to go of normal time at Wembley. BBC Newcastle radio for the North East. Matthew Raisbeck, Barry Heinsohn and Paul Dixon at Wembley to see Whitley Bay. It very much looks like retaining the FA Vase. The first team in 11 years to do that. Tiverton Town were the last side to win it 2 years in a row, back in 1998 and 1999. As Spriggs gets a good reception from the Wroxham fans as he hobbles back along the touchline. Looks like he's probably going to rejoin the field of play, I think. He's moving quite freely. Obviously just got a knock as he went in for a challenge just before. So the ball's in the centre circle. Looks like a handball by a blue shirt. Play on, says the referee. Now to Cook, to Whitley Bay men at his back. Clipped forward by Danny White, and headed clear by Darren Timmins for Whitley Bay. In fact, Craig McFarlane for Whitley Bay. They take the throw in quickly, Wroxham. Now number 21, the substitute, Owen Painter, down the line. Chance for Danny White to cross, and he wins another corner for Wroxham.
Again, good defending, good experienced play by Lee Picton there, Matthew, and we're now just really playing down the clock. We're in the last 5 minutes, 4-1 to Whitley Bay. They've won the FA Vase. Let's see if they can get another goal just to put some icing on the cake.
But nice to see that Whitley Bay are intent on keeping it, to one goal that they've conceded. They're not slacking off. They're still very much committed to keeping Wroxham out as the corner comes in swinging from Howes. It's dangerous, it's deep, and Burke got a hand onto it, and they had to clear it at the second attempt, Whitley Bay, and Phil Bell just about gets it clear, but now it comes to the edge of the area. The shot is in to the hands finally of Terry Burke. Got a couple of deflections. He was almost wrong-footed, but thankfully it bounced straight into his hands. The deflections took the power out of it, and Burke will smash it clear for Whitley Bay. Bit of danger there. Now looks long for Lee Kerr, headed clear by Challen, the Wroxham captain, and they can't keep it in on this near side. Then to throw in right on halfway for Whitley Bay, which Lee Picton, the substitute, will take. Picton looks inside. Already the celebrations among the Whitley Bay fans seem to have started. They've got the flags out already, the blue and white Seahorses flags. The scarves are being raised aloft and swung in the air. You can see the blue shirt in amongst the blue and white stripes, and the Whitley Bay fans away to our left. Over 5,000 of them here today. In contrast, quite a few Wroxham fans heading for the exits now. They've seen enough. Their team 4-1 down. They have put in a good performance on their first ever appearance at Wembley, as Gillies gives it to Lee Kerr inside the area. Kerr trying to take on his man to the byline. Lee Kerr, can he cross? Wins a goal kick. Looked like a corner, must have bounced back off Lee Kerr. In a dangerous position inside the penalty area, trying to get his cross in left-footed, but goes out for a goal kick. And the man of the match, Barry, as you predicted, is Whitley Bay's first goal scorer today. He's had a brilliant game until he was substituted. It's Paul Chow.
Well, his speed was outstanding. From the word goal, literally from the word goal. He scored the fastest goal ever scored at Wembley in 21 seconds to set Whitley Bay on their way, and he was a constant threat and thorn in the side of the Wroxham defence for an hour when they took him off to bring on fresh legs. An outstanding performance by Paul Chow. Not the only one, but he deserves the man of the match award. As
Robinson leaves it for Gillies. He's got Bell inside. Robinson always free on the right hand side, gives it Gillies. Robinson with a chance for 5 for Whitley Bay, And it's Paul Robinson, the man who's got the goal to send them to the final at Wembley. Left out of the starting lineup last year, and he's more than made up for it now. He's got his goal. Paul Robinson, he's come close once or twice already this afternoon, but played in by Joshua Gillies inside the penalty area on the right hand side. He hugs Ian Chandler in front of the dugout. Paul Robinson makes it Whitley Bay 5, Wroxham 1. A fantastic finish, drilled low, right footed shot, and he laps up the adulation from the Whitley Bay supporters. What a finish, what a moment, what a goal from Paul Robinson. It's Whitley Bay 5, Wroxham 1.
And that's thoroughly deserved, Matthew. You've said all the things that needed to be said about the disappointment last year, the fact that he's come back and he's been very, very impressive this afternoon. He's orchestrated where he could, he's defended when he needed to, and he's shown flair when the opportunity presented itself, and he got on the end of that. And once he got into the situation with the space and the room, there was no doubt but that he was going to put it in the back of the net. Thoroughly deserved. Good performance by Paul Robinson. We said let's have a fifth for the icing on the cake, and that's exactly what we've had. And we can go home now, and before we do, we might even call in and have a small look aside. I
think it will be well deserved. The Whitley Bay players will deserve it as well. Paul Dixon is pitch side. Paul Robinson's got his goal, Dicker. It's thoroughly deserved, and a fantastic finish as well from the midfielder.
Well, I'm thrilled for him, Matthew. I mean, he's had a real good game, and he's had a fantastic season. And to score a goal like that at Wembley, he'll be thrilled. I know all his family's here today. And I'm thrilled for Paul Robinson, especially after the disappointment last year. Wasn't it lovely that he ran to Paul? So Paul Robinson ran to Ian Chandler and Steve Cookie, and they're all happier this year.
It more than makes up for the disappointment of last year. And just while you're there, Paul Chow, man of the match, fantastic performance in the hour or so that he played before being replaced by Phil Bell. Got himself a goal, the fastest goal ever at Wembley, and he deserves that man of the match award. We'll come back to you in a second. There's another ball forward. Finds Lee Kerr, got Gillies on the right hand side. He slips as the ball's played to him by Lee Kerr. Man of the match, Paul Dixon, Paul Chow. He thoroughly deserves that award this afternoon.
He did, and he was brilliant for an hour. I mean, he was nearly unplayable. He's a top-class striker. And he played exceptionally well and thoroughly deserved being man of the match.
Welcome back to our listeners on BBC Newcastle's FM frequencies. It's the FA Vase final live from Wembley. We're into the 90th minute, 3 minutes of added on time, signalled by the fourth official Neil Swarbrick. And good news for Whitley Bay. They lead by 5-1 over Wroxham. They are going to retain the FA Vase trophy. Here they come again, looking for a sixth. They're just piling on the pressure. Bell gives it to Picton on the left-hand side. Great ball in by Picton for Phil Bell with a header, which is just wide. May have got a touch off the defender. They're claiming a corner. It's a goal kick to Wroxham, the Norfolk side. The story of the game, Paul Chow giving Whitley Bay the lead with the fastest goal ever at Wembley after 21 seconds, we think. Wroxham then equalised through Paul Cook, but an own goal after 16 minutes put Whitley Bay ahead. Then Lee Kerr, a minute into the second half, with a fantastic effort, restored their 2-goal advantage. Adam Johnson then got his goal at Wembley, following up from a Paul Chow shot. And then Paul Robinson, the man who scored the goal to put them in this final, has got the fifth. 2 minutes to go. The icing on the cake. Here they come again for a sixth. It's number 6 for Whitley Bay, and waltzing through, they've got themselves a goal, and it's Joshua Gillies, the substitute, the man who came on for Adam Johnson, who got a goal earlier on. Great little interchange between Phil Bell and Lee Kerr. Joshua Gillies running forward, unmarked from midfield, picked up the ball on the edge of the area, took it in his stride, and then slotted it coolly underneath the goalkeeper. Whitley Bay have gone absolutely mad at Wembley. They have got themselves a 6th goal. If we thought 5 was the icing on the cake, well, 6 is unbelievable. Lovely little back heel into Gillies by Lee Kerr. It's absolutely fantastic for Whitley Bay. They've got 6, Barry Heinsohn. Whitley Bay 6, Wroxham 1.
And that's the sort of goal you score when you're leading 5-1 and you're in stoppage time. It was just sheer entertainment, that goal, Matthew. Beautifully constructed. 1-2 between Gillies and Kerr. The return ball from Kerr delightful, and the finish in the end easy. Whitley Bay now rampaging their way towards the FA Vase. We're in stoppage time and just about a minute and a half to play, Matthew.
Well, we said they could go and get themselves a couple more goals when they got to 3-1, and they have done that. Paul Dixon, former Whitley Bay manager and former FA Vase winner, is pitch side as Whitley Bay get a free kick there, and there's going to be a yellow card for Paul Cook, the striker for Roxton. Paul Dixon pitch side. What did you make of that goal? Fantastic moment for Joshua Gillies coming on off the bench, the young lad.
Brilliant for him. You know, it was a wonderful finish as well. Very cool, calm and collective. And it's a rout now, isn't it? I mean, when was the last time 6-1 in a cup final? We'll have to look back to the history books, but Whitley Bay have been very, very good for the whole of the game. In second half, they've just turned the screw, haven't they?
They've been absolutely fantastic. I'm looking through all my reams of paper for the stats on the last team to score 6 goals at Wembley. But Whitley Bay have done it this afternoon. The FA Vase holders, the first team to retain the trophy since Tiverton Town 11 years ago. And Lee Picton has a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area. They can't get 7, can they? Surely. It's into the box. It's parried up in the air by the goalkeeper. The referee blows the full-time whistle at Wembley. Whitley Bay have retained the FA Vase trophy. They have beaten Wroxham of Norfolk by 6 goals to 1. Deserved winners. The Whitley Bay players run onto the pitch. Paul Chow, the man of the match, hugs Paul Robinson, both goal scorers this afternoon. The Wroxham players are on their knees, but the Whitley Bay players, Terry Burke, the long-serving goalkeeper, making his 400th appearance today, hugs a couple of the players, the substitutes. Ian Chandler and Steve Cuggy are on the pitch. Wroxham players on their knees, absolutely demoralised. Whitley Bay hit 6 goals this afternoon at Wembley. They've retained the FA Vase trophy, fully deserved. The celebrations continuing out on the pitch, hugging each other, congratulating each other on a fantastic performance, Barry Hines, and a well-deserved victory.
An absolutely fabulous performance from Whitley Bay. The inspiration of a goal, the fastest at Wembley, set them on their way, and whilst they were pegged back, once they got 2-1 in front, really they increasingly controlled this game with Robinson in midfield and the two front runners, Adam Johnson and Paul Chow, terrorising an increasingly demoralised side who, to be fair to them, had their captain injured and he couldn't come out for the second half. They had to regroup. Their most potent forward, the man who scored their goal, Paul Cook, got a clash on the head just before half-time, and he wasn't the player in the second half that he had been in the first. Spriggs caused Whitley Bay problems, particularly in the first half, intermittently in the second, but the more the game went on, the more dominant Whitley Bay came, and the way that they constructed and took their challenges, particularly in the second half, was hugely impressive. And while 6-1 may sound a bit harsh, the fact that Whitley just turned the screw and kept turning the screw, Wroxham increasingly had no answer, and Whitley Bay not only thoroughly deserved to win, but deserved to win by the margin that they did. Wroxham had a go once or twice, particularly in the last 20 minutes or so, but they just weren't good enough in the final analysis. Whitley Bay, Paul Dixon used the word rout, that's how it ended up. Tremendous victory for Whitley Bay, who are now saluting their fans and being saluted in return.
Now the Wroxham players, led by their manager David Batch, former Cambridge United player and youth team coach, make their way up the steps. They're getting a great reception from their fans. A lot of Wroxham fans, Barry Heinsohn, have left left once the 4th and 5th goals went in, but those have stayed, giving a great reception. And it's nice for them to see their team come to Wembley without sounding patronising. They are a smaller club than Whitley Bay. They've had a marvellous run to get here, and they did put in a good effort. They got themselves level at one point, and there could have been a game on, but Whitley Bay just came through stronger in the end.
Whitley just got better and better as the game went on. They got the measure of Wroxham, and once they'd had their measure, the frailties and the flaws in the Wroxham back four were increasingly exposed. For Whitley Bay, it's a different story. They're going up the steps now to collect their medals, to a rapturous reception from their fans. They've done it 2 years in a row. They'll now be thinking about a hat-trick. And they get 20 medals, the Whitley. The two teams each get 20 medals, so that'll be the players, the manager and the coach presumably will just about make up the Whitley contingent. It'll be interesting to see whether there's one for the captain, who of course didn't play today, David Coulson, because of the injury he received in the semi-final. The Whitley Bay players, the Wroxham players coming down past us, they look pretty dejected, as you might imagine they would, Matthew. Almost apologetic as they come down the steps. There's nothing to be ashamed of. They were beaten by the better side on the day. And 6-1 is a harsh scoreline. Well, they'll learn lessons, and who knows, they may come back.
And Whitley Bay approached the Royal Box, led by Mark Taylor, the defender who played last year, sadly diagnosed with motor neurone disease. There is a charity match for him on Tuesday night at Hillheads. He leads the Whitley Bay players up to the FA Vase trophy. What a lovely, lovely touch. He's backed up by captain for the day, Leon Ryan, and man of the match, Paul Chow. Mark Taylor, such a fantastic servant for Whitley Bay over the years, and a very popular figure, a player at Hillheads, and still very much part of the squad. And what a lovely touch that he'll go up there and collect the trophy.
It's a very very emotional time for everyone.
Mark Taylor and Leon Ryan, a hand each on the FA Vase Trophy. Whitley Bay have retained the FA Vase Trophy at Wembley, and the celebrations can begin properly. They've beaten Wroxham by 6 goals to 1 this afternoon, and the Whitley Bay fans away to our right go absolutely ballistic. Leon Ryan, Mark Taylor, a hand each on the trophy. They kiss the FA Vase Trophy. Paul Chow, goal scorer for Whitley Bay, first off and man of the match, gets his hands on it now. He kisses it, raises it aloft above his head, gets a great cheer. Now Terry Burke, the goalkeeper, making his 400th and possibly final appearance maybe for Whitley Bay. He gets his hand on it, kisses the trophy. They'll go down the line in that royal box there, but as we said, a lovely touch letting Mark Taylor, who's played such a vital role in Whitley Bay's successes over the year, lift the trophy with Leon Ryan, standing skipper for the day. Of course, David Coulson injured, not able to play his part this afternoon, but well, all the Whitley Bay fans have stayed behind and they've joined in the celebrations as the number 16 Josh Gillies lifts the trophy. Now Lee Picton, one of the substitutes, gets his hand on it as well. They all want a piece of that FA Vase Trophy. The Whitley Bay players, well, the Wroxham players just get a round of applause just right in front of us, in front of their own supporters who very graciously have stayed to applaud Whitley Bay as Lee Kerr scored a fantastic goal. Lifts the trophy there, and now Phil Bell, who came off the bench, gets his hands on it. They're all getting their fingers on the trophy. One of them, I think, was going to put the lid of the trophy on his head. He'd better be careful as he comes down those stairs there. Whitley Bay players just passing the trophy down the line one by one, each of them getting a fantastic cheer. Barry Heinsohn
and the Whitley Bay chairman Paul McElduff in the back of the screen just hugging Graham Fell, one of the coaching staff there. He'll be a proud man. He's backed this club to the hilt since he came in as chairman. I know he was overjoyed last season, and he'll be equally delighted today.
As Steve Cuggy and Ian Chandler lift the trophy, the manager and assistant manager of Whitley Bay, what a part they've played, what a job they've done, getting them to the final and winning last year and back to repeat the success of 2009. They lift the trophy, get a fantastic reception from the Whitley Bay fans. They deserve to enjoy this success every bit as much as all of the players do. Barry Heinsohn
and all of the Whitley Bay management and coaching staff wearing number 2 shirts with Mark Taylor's name on. Absolutely. It really is very emotional, Matthew, because Mark played in this game last year. He's 24, he was diagnosed with motor neurone disease, which is a terrible affliction for such a young man, and you can only wish him well. And on Tuesday night there is a match at Hillheads. The FA Vase will be on display, the proceeds of which will be going to Mark Taylor's fund, and we'll talk about that. But
give more
it's wonderful that they've embraced the spirit of Mark Taylor this afternoon. Absolutely. And all of the players and all of the staff wearing those T-shirts with his name on.
BBC Newcastle's Paul Dixon is pitchside, former Whitley Bay manager. He knows what it feels like to win the FA Vase. He did it with Newcastle Blue Star. Paul Dixon, fantastic scenes there as Mark Taylor and Leon Ryan lift that trophy.
Well, it was wonderful to see Mark up there. He's a top lad, and I mean, it's very sad what's happened. And a brilliant performance by Whitley Bay. Brilliant for the North East, for the FA Vase to come back to the North East, second year running. A fantastic team they've got here at Whitley Bay, and I'm sure Ian Chandler and Steve Cuggy will want to build on that team for even more for next year.
Paul Dixon is pitchside with Ian Chandler.
Chan, what a performance, 6-1 at Wembley, back-to-back wins. You must be absolutely delighted with that.
Yeah, probably in tears as well, because Mark Taylor's turned up, so just a perfect ending to a perfect game.
Brilliant performance there. I mean, were you ever worried when they got back to ones each?
Truthfully, no, I wasn't. I mean, the lads were on fire. They've been buzzing all week, and every single one of them, more so, Paul Robinson wanted to prove a point, and to score 6 in the National Stadium, you've got to be happy.
I mean, you broke a few records today, Ian. Fastest goal at Wembley and scoring 6. We're trying to find out when the last team scored 6 in a final at Wembley.
Well, I was delighted with the one inside of 20 seconds. Paul Chow, honestly, it couldn't have started any better for the lad. Got man of the match, and deservedly so. And then we had a free-for-all at the end of the game, and Wroxham were coming out trying to attack us, and we picked them off quite well, and got 6 goals, so very happy.
And I bet you're pleased as well. Paul Robinson getting a goal, he come running to you there, absolutely thrilled. Disappointing with last year, but that's gone. Delighted for him, I bet.
Absolutely, totally. I mean, out of all the things I've done in football, leaving him out last year and leaving Phil Bell out this year have been the hardest by a street. And Paul's reacted like the true, the professional player that he could be, in scoring a goal and playing really well today.
Go on and join with the celebration. Thanks, Ian. I've got Paul Chow with me here. Fastest goal at Wembley and man of the match. What a day, Paul.
What a fantastic day. It's been absolutely breathtaking. Again, I've lost my voice just about Paul. After ecstatic. Fantastic team performance. 6 goals, 5 different goal scorers for us. What an occasion. It's such a wonderful stadium.
Brilliant. Paul, before the game I spoke to you about scoring last year and you said I really want to score this year. Took you 21 seconds. It's been a talk of the place. Is it the fastest goal? I think it is.
Fantastic. I didn't realise that at first, obviously. I got on the half time I got told, I thought that's fantastic. All the great players that's played, he had to score the fastest ever goal. Really, really pleased with myself.
So are you coming back next year to try and make it 3 up the belt, Paul?
No reason why we can't. What a great bunch of lads. We've got a fantastic team spirit and a really good team. So you never know, do you?
And some wonderful goals this afternoon, wasn't that?
Fantastic. It's hard to pick the best goal, to be honest. Obviously, from my point of view, it was mine. But it was a bit scrappy. But the rest of the goals all fantastic.
And what about these wonderful fans that's come down from Whitley Bay? Brilliant from the northeast.
Definitely. They're always, no matter where we're playing at, they're always 100% behind. When they come out with the numbers today, it's been fantastic for them and our players.
Paul, celebrate tonight. You had a wonderful game this afternoon at Wembley.